Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to the worldwide family. A peaceful Sabbath day. Y'all know how we doing. We're going to go ahead and get this started. We're a little bit behind. So y'all going to get it going. We turn toward Holy Jerusalem as mentioned in 1 Kings 8th chapter. Family. Also Daniel chapter 6 verse 10, y'all. Men are to uncover their heads, and women are to cover their heads when praying and prophesying within the assembly, according to 1 Corinthians 11, Numbers 30th chapter. Also, y'all, we want the Most High to lift us up today, y'all. We need some good understanding, and we're asking Abba to help us, y'all, with that understanding today, as we're in these perilous times, y'all. We're talking about 1 Tim chapter 2, verse 8. So, y'all, we're telling us get it going. Let's get it.
All right, family. We're going to get this opening prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And in the name of his only beloved and begotten Son.
Yes, sir.
Our Lord and Savior. Our Redeemer. Yahushua HaMashiach.
Yes, sir.
And we know him down here, y'all, as Jesus the Christ. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms. In the 28th chapter, it reads, unto thee will I cry, O Yahweh my rock. Be not silent to me, lest if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit. Hear the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward thy holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their deserts. Because they regard not the works of the Most High, nor the operation of his hands. He shall destroy them and not build them up. Blessed be the Most High,
yes, sir.
Because he hath heard the voice of my supplication.
Yes.
Yahweh is my strength and my shield.
Yes.
My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore, my heart greatly rejoices, and with my song will I sing praise him.
Yes, sir.
Yahweh is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. Save thy people.
Yes.
Save thy people.
Yes, Lord.
And bless thine inheritance. Feed them also, and lift them up forever. Hallelujah! Say loud!
Yes, sir.
All praises to the author.
Just now, like that boy.
Yeah, got my pressure up, boy. Might have the sugar.
Boy,
I'm the sugar.
Shabbat Shalom again, y'all, to the worldwide family.
Shabbat Shalom, family.
You know, y'all, as we continue on being one day closer to Holy Jerusalem, y'all, we're seeing the times that we're in, y'all. So we're going to continue on with our lessons of the true communication to the Most High. We've went over Urim and Thummim. We've covered dreams. So y'all, now we're going to cover visions and trances, but we're going to use certain examples like the Bible always teaches, so that we stay according to the record, and the sheep know his voice. So basically, y'all, today's class, the Damascus Voice. We're going to deal with, Shalom, Michael, we're going to deal with Paul on the road to Damascus, but what we're going to talk about, we're going to get deeper into this concerning hearing the voice. Some people have a problem, you know, they look at the Acts 9 and they say Paul men saw and heard the voice that was with him, but then when you get to Acts 22, it say, but the men saw the light but didn't hear the voice. Is Paul contradicting himself? That's why I don't read the New Testament. See, we have to get these things cleared up so that you may fully be able and fully persuaded in yourself that you can defend this brand name called the gospel, the good news.
That's right.
No, it ain't no good news if it's been tampered with, is it? That's bad news, ain't it?
Bad news.
So y'all, we want to get this cleared up today because we're continuing on being in the last days of understanding. He's speaking to us through dreams and visions, and we got plenty of examples since that took place in Acts the 2nd chapter. So y'all, we're gonna clear up a few things today and get some clear understanding on some of the things that happened. And we're gonna deal with Joseph and a vision and trance he had at his mother's grave that may raise some concerns in the book of Jasher that some people will run to and say, wait a minute, this sound like necromancy to me. So y'all, we want to make sure we get clear understanding, because we don't care what's outside the Bible. We don't care what you bring and say it's just like that in the Bible. No, it ain't. The Bible got rules, and we're gonna see rules today for visions and trances that we see on occasion showing up in the Bible, and what they mean and what happens when you go into that state. Thank you.
Say it, Daniel. We don't care what these Negroes say.
Okay.
We don't care what they say.
Yeah.
As it is written.
As it is written.
As it is written.
You know, once you get into talking about, well, I can't trust Luke, I can't trust that, you don't trust yourself.
That's right.
Then take holy off your Bible.
That's right.
At least let us know how you come. So y'all, do we got any questions? Anything on anybody's heart, mind, or soul before we get started? If it's something we can tackle right away, we will. If not, we're gonna get rolling because we are about 20 minutes behind. What's happening? Somebody say that? None? Okay, y'all, so what we're talking about is Damascus Voice, which really is the voice of the Lord that he heard on the road to Damascus. So it's not talking in no way, shape, or form of what Paul's saying. It's what Paul experienced when you hear the voice of the Lord. And when that bright light will overshadow you and overpower you, and it knocks you back and knocks you into a different mental state, so to speak. It's like being struck by lightning. Some people come out of it a genius. Some people burn to death.
That's right.
So we're going to get this understanding today. So y'all, like we always have to do, y'all, we always have to look at everything from the law, because the law is the ruler. Where there's no law, there's lawlessness.
You know, that's funny you say that, that struck by lightning thing.
Yeah.
Because I got hit with 440 volts of electricity and almost died.
Yes, sir.
But that was a turning point in my life, because before that point, I was almost an atheist.
Yeah.
You dig? And I was talking down about,
Yes, sir.
you know, believing in the Most High and carrying my gun and just, you know, trusting you pretty much know, well, both of y'all.
Right.
Yeah, but you ain't kidding, boy. When you get a good joke of some act right,
Yes,
you either act right or you gone.
Right.
So, you know, that was like a turning point.
He didn't believe that if you stick that butter knife in the socket.
Right.
But that ain't what he did.
Right.
It was more than that.
It was more than one cheese.
And then, but then even on top of that was like I said, even when I started coming to the camp, I still was kind of, you know, like, wait, Elder Judah was there.
Right.
When we were on the side of the camp on Goodfellow, and I went to lift that ark up, and that joint just
exploded.
It disintegrated in my hands, and because I was still eating Johnsonville brats because I thought them was a good one.
Yeah. You know, like they own to some, but they don't know nothing about good eating.
But then that helped convince me all the way, man. And I was like,
supernatural, not superstitious, but
exactly.
supernatural occurrences.
Pretty much.
They were both miracles.
Right.
They were both miracles.
Yes, sir. And that's the decision time when it says he visits you, to let you know at this point, so okay, you know what this is now. And almost all of us have experienced that in our life, that when you call back and you like, I know that was supernatural. You may not believe it, but I know.
Right.
So, and this is where we're getting to today, that we get some clear understanding on this, that you don't just be caught up. And you may say, well, y'all, no, we're coming from a total different angle on this today. So y'all, let's get it from the law first. Deuteronomy 18, give me 15 through 19, and then we're going to get Psalm 29, because from the law and the prophets speaks of Messiah and what he would be doing. And then we're going to get right into some John 10, so we know what his voice is. Because if you understand when he says there are going to be many in that day to say, we have prophesied in your name. That means you heard his voice. And he gonna say, I didn't know you. Then whose voice did they hear?
Right.
And what Christ was they prophesying about?
There's only one other voice.
Because he say, my sheep know my voice.
That's right.
And I give my sheep explicit instructions on how to listen for my voice.
Right.
Y'all, and that's simply what it is. It's called a discerner of the spirit. You're listening for the voice of Messiah. The truth that was given to him by his Father. So y'all, let's get it. Where we at? Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. So we always get it understood on which order we are under. The order of Melchizedek. So that knows that we have one high priest, one king, one Lord.
Can we take it down to 22?
You can, bro? Yes, sir. Who got it?
I got it. I
Go
was
ahead,
just
brother.
looking at verse 9. I've seen it that tied in. But we're started at
You said wherever
15.
you want to work, bro. Wherever you want to roll.
Well, we're going to read in the book of Deuteronomy in the 18th chapter. We'll just start the reading at verse 9.
Yes, sir.
9 through 22.
9 through 22, family.
And y'all, this is setting up the voice. And when you got Aaron, and then you got people in Aaron telling you, this the voice that's coming, you got to listen to this voice. Then how are you still listening to Aaron's voice?
Right.
When they're telling you in the law, the change in the law is coming. Of the priesthood. You're going to have to listen to a different voice.
Right.
And that's what we be listening to. See, that's what Messiah listened to when he said to the Pharisees. If you keep on, you can't get in the kingdom with that doctrine.
Right.
You just can't. You can't take this back to Mount Sinai.
Right. And see, to add to that, when the Messiah said, unless your righteousness surpassed
Yes, sir.
the Pharisees and the scribes, that used to trick me up for a while. That, wait a minute, they supposed to be so righteous, so how am I going to be righteous more than them?
Yeah.
The fact that we learned out, they weren't that righteous.
That's right.
They was wrong.
They told
you the one doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They was not.
Yeah.
They was not doing it.
They was just acting like they
So
were.
he's saying if you ain't gonna be better than them, you can't do it.
That's right.
Not knowing that they was wrong. They the same preachers that we used to look at as us, but the rest of this world, our people, look to their preachers.
Yeah.
So to break it down, he's saying if you ain't better than Creflo, you ain't getting into the kingdom. That's what that
Don't
means.
even worry about it.
Right.
And the reason being is because they tell you, don't worry about the law. It's done away with. See, we're not saying the law is done away with. What we're saying is the priesthood that ministered that law under those circumstances is done away with. Not the law. It's the same law. Stealing is still the same under any order. Right? The laws ain't changed. I mean, when you go to 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, when it say, know ye not that these shall not enter the kingdom, the only place you can find a description of that is in the Old Testament. So the law is not done away with. The priesthood just switched back to the beginning. Priesthood. Let's get it, y'all.
Let me serve my brother.
Yes, sir.
Here you go, up. Enjoy yourself.
What's going on, Theo? Let's get it, y'all.
Reading in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, going to start our reading in verse 9. When thou art come into the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
So we're going to see things that happens in the Bible that it appears that these things are happening. Everything that tells you not to do it, it looks like we can find somewhere in the Bible that it was done. No, it was not. There's a set of different writers. The Most High don't call what he says enchanter. He don't call his priests witches, nor wizards.
How many of you brothers thought you was charming back in the day?
Boy, look, shirt unbuttoned to the third button.
Yeah, he was. Chest stuck out.
Yeah,
Chest hair looking like burnt taco meat.
yeah. Go ahead. Read on. Read on.
Where is this? My name is Marvin.
Go ahead. Finish that up.
Verse 12. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Most High. And because of these abominations of the Most High, thy power doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Most High thy Elohim. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, Yahweh thy El hath not suffered thee so to do. The Most High thy Elohim will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken.
So what we just went through right there is, first of all, how do you be perfect with the Most High? The only way you can be perfect with the Most High is to know what the Most High say to do, and you do it. And he's also saying, hold your peace and be patient. I'm going to send you the one to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you the one that's going to deal with you and be, so to speak, a mouthpiece for me that you can see in front of you. That I'm going to communicate with him, tell him what to tell you to do. Like back in the days when we was back on Page and Taylor, me and this one of my sister Naomi here is one of our favorite scriptures. When in the book of Jeremiah, the script say, the word of the prophet of the Lord to the prophet Jeremiah, go tell my people to do this. And Jeremiah said, okay. He went to the people and he told the people, the Lord say do this. And they was like, you go back and tell the Lord, we ain't gonna do it. And how we laughed and laughed and laughed, and that's how hard-headed and stiff-necked that we are. The Lord chose Jeremiah at his time, that prophet Jeremiah, that the Lord used to deal with the people. That's just what we read. The Lord say, I'm gonna raise up a person. So until he come, y'all be patient.
That's right.
Y'all be patient, and when he come, you'll know it's him. But until then, do what you're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
Read on. I mean, go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Verse 16. According to all that thou desirest of the Most High thy El in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Most High thy power, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. And the Most High said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren.
From among their what?
From among their brethren.
See, and this is a problem that's going on now. We got the Book of Mormon that slipped in on us in this last days. People talking about the Book of Mormon, talking about it's deeper than that. You got to know what it. Look, if Joseph Smith is among these brethren, then the information would be out there.
Right.
Joseph Smith said that all of the Edomite nations that you read about in Genesis 36 are the 12 tribes of Israel. There's a problem with that.
Big problem.
If he's saying this group of people are the Israelites, then how is that part of this book when this book is saying it's totally different? Somebody lying.
He nation stealing.
And how are you calling yourself Israel and then they saying they Israel? Which one? Who's telling the truth? The book of Mormons ain't gonna exclude them.
Which it did.
Well, I'm saying from saying that they are the true people, they're not accepting the Bible, that they are a different group of people. You're not the descendants. You can't find yourself on slave ships. You don't fit any of the prophecy. But yet we got our people chasing the Book of Mormons now.
And
talking about the place.
By their doctrine. They excluded the true Israelites by their doctrines and say you couldn't even be a priest amongst them until 1972, and they changed
Until what?
1972.
Boy, look here.
They changed their own rules. to allow black people to become priests in the Mormon religion.
And
So
look,
they know who's who. Why you keeping this person out?
right, and they say you mud people in there.
Exactly.
So you're bringing that in, you mud people in this book saying you the children of the Most High, you the apple of his eye? That's a problem, ain't it?
Big problem.
See, but that's what happens when people can't explain the Bible and they don't trust what the New Testament or different things. They start to bring in other pieces that they say, well, that'll help me trust it. Then you can't stop Farrakhan from what he's saying about what Muhammad said. This is an extension of the book of Revelation. That's what they say the Quran is. There's a problem with that. This don't say, they say it is finished. It didn't say until Muhammad come. Or to Joseph Smith and his Latter-day Saint doctrine comes, then it'll pick back up. No, the books were sealed with Daniel, and John the Revelator picked it up and took it to the end.
That's right.
If it's in the Book of Mormon about the end, then we need to start seeing them writings, because they have to match up exactly like Revelation is saying, or we ain't need no need get it. But this say to my brother, so first they got to prove lineage. Y'all know how we get down, run that register. Where
That's
your
right.
name's at.
That's right.
From the children of Israel.
Right, where your father's in.
Run the record. Then we stand correct. But if not, don't be adding or taking away from this book. These books match up perfectly. Book of Jasher, because the Bible tell you, they don't say in here, and thou shalt study from the LDS. No, it warns us about LDS.
Right.
Last day-ish. That's all it is. Some last day-ish. LDS.
Yes.
Okay,
It took him a minute.
go ahead, finish up, bro. Where you at?
You've been working too much.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee,
Like unto you, Moses.
and will put my words in his mouth.
Right.
And he shall speak them unto them all that I shall command him. I got to read that again.
Okay.
I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name,
That's right.
I will require it of him.
You can hold that. So y'all know what the rest of it say. It gets into false prophets, the ones who ain't called by his name. And see, he told Moses, I'll speak to you mouth to mouth. Not with anybody else. The only other person was told that was Messiah, that he spoke mouth to mouth. Everybody else in visions and dreams. So let's just back this up with that Psalm 29 as the law of the prophets concerning Messiah, and the speaking, where we're going to, y'all, basically his voice. So we have to understand all of the ways that his voice speaks to us.
Okay.
You know, it's just not always speaking. He had Samuel, so to speak, prophesy from the grave, as Sirach 42 speaks of, and 2 Samuel. So y'all, we know, but we don't want you to get confused. And when we say the dead don't know of anything, y'all, you have to understand on that side of that realm, there's activity going on with people that died. That's their soul that's still alive. It's still alive on that side. It just can't come back over here under this sun. That's what the scriptures say. Ecclesiastes didn't say they don't exist no more. If that's the case, ain't no judgment then, is it?
No.
It just said that they have no more reward under this sun. They can't come back around here under this sun. Because if they do, then they're going to die twice. Well, you say, what about Lazarus? He was raised from the dead. We'll find the writings. Was he raised up as an angel and just then went on as a saint on high? Or can we find records of a second death that's going to destroy Hebrews 9:27 about Lazarus? Or was he resurrected as an angel? Because it said many saints rose around that time after Messiah, where'd they go to? Where they at right now? Was another funeral for them. Where we at? Psalm 29, I'm sorry.
We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 29. Start our reading in verse 1. Let's get some understanding, family.
Mister, that's your soup, ain't it? Where Mister go?
Yeah, he back there. Give unto the Most High, O ye mighty. Give unto Yahweh glory and strength. Give unto the Most High the glory due unto his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. The voice of Yahweh is upon the water.
What is the voice?
Is upon the water.
So we hear that you will hear the Most High in the waves, and in the storm you will hear his voice. Go ahead.
The Elohim of glory thundereth. Yahweh is upon many waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Most High is full of majesty. The voice of Yahweh breaketh the cedars. Yahweh breaketh the cedars of Lebanon. He maketh them also to skip like a calf.
Right.
Lebanon and Syrian like a young unicorn.
So when you see a F5 tornado come through there and you see them trees I'm talking about as wide, like 3 of them pillars together, snapped in half or turned over by the roots, you know that's power. And it's talking about when you look at a tree that size and you see it was just flipped over like that by strong wind, you know that's some power. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 7. The voice of the Most High divided the flames of fire.
It divided the flames of fire. That's how Abraham, Shadrach, Meshach, and the bad Negro was able to stand in the midst of fire. He divided it off you. When you come up, you do this, the smell of smoke ain't even on you. Go ahead.
The voice of Yahweh shaketh the wilderness.
What it do to the wilderness?
Shaketh the wilderness. Yahweh shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forest. And in his temple doth everyone speak of his glory.
See, in his temple, everyone speak of his glory, like it talks about in Revelation, those that are around the throne. They speak of his glory. They talk about holy, holy, holy 24/7 if there's such a time. But there's none stop giving him praise. Go ahead.
The Most High sitteth upon the flood.
What is it upon?
The flood. Yahweh sitteth king forever.
For how long?
Forever. The Most High will give strength unto his people. Yahweh will bless his people with peace.
See, and when he talks about, I have animals talk, so we know about numbers the dumb ass spake.
Right.
You know, he everything he made will give me glory. Everything, so that you will see it and you understand. You like even a beast obey better than I do. That's a shame. I ought to be ashamed of myself.
Of this donkey.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you name your best behavior after a dog. He don't say I'm doing the human style. You don't hear a dog barking, do it. Boy, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
Boy.
Give me trance and vision, Zell.
Ooh, boy, that's a mental picture I did not see, boy. I mean.
Right. But that lets us know what kind of shape we in.
You're like fluffy.
Yeah.
Right girl.
That's H. What you got to say about which one you going with
Yours
first?
is different than mine. I don't know why. A vision,
The H you got 2377?
nah, I'm at age 4236.
No, just Google 2347, 2377.
That was right here.
Yeah, go ahead, run it then, yeah.
Yeah, I got it right here. I had to see which one it was. H 23777. Vision in a static state.
What kind of state?
And a static state.
In an ecstatic state. Now you could be in that state as a schizophrenic state, crazy, you know, or it could be a different situation, filled or full of the Holy Spirit. Go ahead.
A vision in night.
What is it?
A vision in night.
Uh-huh.
Oracle prophecy, divine communication.
What did you just say then, bro?
Divine communication.
What kind of communication again?
Divine communication.
Uh-huh.
Vision as a title of a book of prophecy.
See, so oral communication, y'all, visions, like he said, from the Most High. So we saw you cannot be involved with divination and different things. Well, if this is oral communication, people say, well, that's the same thing as saying, no, it's not, because he's saying they're not my instructions. That's the difference. Yes, it's in the Bible, but Lucifer's in the Bible, but do we go worship him?
It also says dream and revelation.
Dreams and revelations. Now give me Trance while you're in there, bro.
What number you got on there?
8637. Trance.
Also, okay. That's what I thought it said.
Because you'll see Paul or Peter fell into a trance, y'all, and we see visions, so we have to know exactly what they mean from Bible language. Not what nobody else telling you, because they can make something else be that. Miss Rudolph can do that then. But see, that said, how y'all gonna have dream and Miss Rudolph can't? Because her instructions are not from the Lord. He didn't say keep people hanging on the edge. Tell them what the deal is. Shout it on a rooftop. How you don't know who it is? You keep talking about it's some girl with a red wig at the quickie stop. You're watching now, don't you go back there for 2 Saturdays. Them ain't the instructions of the Lord.
They're your instructions.
He's right.
She's still there.
Now come back with $40 and I tell you, she's been demoted or transferred to another store, and you can resume your quickie stops.
Oh, she work inside.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, bro. Where we at? Look, doing it on the side. Hustling, palm reading, and selling lotto tickets. Where we at?
8637.
What it say?
To go.
To what?
To go. That's what this one.
That's how it's pronounced.
How it's pronounced.
What are you saying? It's just saying to
It
go?
says to go on foot, spy out, cause to walk. That's why I was asking. Where
No, you gotta look at another. I don't know. Is that Strong's or
Yeah,
that's the Hebrew?
8637.
See them right there? Maybe I got that. Well, look up trance again, anybody. So
I got
just look it up a different way.
dictionary.
Yeah, what it say?
says a hypnotic or catalytic or ecstatic state.
That's what we're talking about, because they're almost one and the same. It's like spirit and soul, but one does just a little bit different. One can happen in the daytime. You know, one happens while you're dreaming. You can just go into a trance, be walking down the road, and you'll just go out. You know, some of us, you know, been driving a car, and when you look up, you 3 exits down the road, and you're like, wait a minute, I done missed 5 exits. What happened? What was I doing? And it'll scare you a little bit, because you're saying that you want to look in your rearview mirror and see if it's a trail of cars piled up behind you. Wait a minute, I done missed the space of time here.
Right, that daydreaming.
But you're still, and like when you read trance, a lot of times it'll say half in consciousness and half out of consciousness. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. You still driving, but you outside of this natural realm.
Right.
You in another one.
Right.
Let me read the rest of this.
Go ahead, what else to say there?
Detached from one's physical surroundings.
What are you?
Detached from one's physical surroundings as a contemplation or daydream.
See, or a daydream, y'all. So this is what's happening. A lot of young men fell into trances in the 8th and 7th grade.
It's also sleepwalking or being in a
Yeah,
daze.
so, you know, and they experienced trouble when they was called to the chalkboard, because it told what they were daydreaming about.
Not the boring one.
Look, so y'all, let's get right. Yeah, let's get right away to what we talking about, y'all, so we get some understanding. John chapter 10.
Boy, y'all.
Y'all, we're gonna run that John chapter 10, y'all, because we need to know his
I'm just
voice.
gonna cover you.
We need to know the voice that's speaking with us, y'all, because a lot of voices are out in the wind. They were out there, and y'all, it's just not, it's the voices or y'all false prophecy. Remember the voices was out there when the Messiah asked Peter, he said, who do men say I am? Some say this, some say Jeremiah the prophet. Will that be reincarnation?
Yeah.
Whom do you say I am? You're the son of the living God. The prophesied king. He like, look, flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you. That's a supernatural communication that told you who I am. Upon that rock I'm gonna build that church. That didn't make Peter the first pope like the Catholics try to say. It just said upon that foundation, we're gonna build off of that.
That faith and that belief.
That who he is the true and living Son of the Most High. The high priest of the order of Melchizedek. Prophesied to come. Y'all, we got to get to understanding that his voice and his voice alone. Can't go back door on. Better not try, or you may end up, I don't know you. I've been flipping through these pages. I do not see your name in the book of life.
You don't want to hear that?
Boy, I don't want to hear that. John out there. Ain't John out there?
John, he over there right now.
Go ahead. Oh, he coming, yeah.
Digging in that pot. Look at him. Looks like 1 week. What verses you want?
Verse 10.
John chapter 10, verse 10.
No, verse 1.
Yeah, all it says all.
Yeah, I got 10 all, yeah.
See what verses?
Y'all, we have to set this up, y'all, because it's very important here when you have other people saying it's possible to mix this doctrine, to mix the pour liquor and cup. How you gonna pour Hennessy and Grey Goose in the same cup and drink it down?
And keep it down.
And keep it down, that'd be the problem.
Wake up the next one.
Go ahead, where we at?
John chapter 10, verse 1. And this is, for you all who don't have a script, this is the Messiah speaking.
If you don't have.
I'm just saying.
listening in.
People,
okay.
There's people just listening. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
That's not hard to understand. The Messiah speaks where you can train a 5-year-old. He say, if you got my doctrine and you can't make a 5-year-old understand what's happening, then you don't understand it yourself. We should be able to make a 5-year-old understand it, because he says, such is the kingdom. He didn't say such is the wise man and such is this one who studied that. He said, this is because it's full of pure innocence. Such is the kingdom of that. Pure innocence. Ain't defiled. Ain't chasing nobody. If you come in a different way and say that this is what's going to be in the kingdom, this is what's going to be in charge, you sad and mistaken. Go ahead.
Verse 2.
What it say?
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth.
To him the what?
The porter openeth.
So when you come for the Messiah with the order of Melchizedek, the porter will open the door. That's the only way the door is opening. Who you come to see? Oh, okay, you got the right words.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the sheep hear his voice.
What the sheep do?
Hear his voice. And he calleth his own sheep by name.
By what?
By name. And leadeth them out.
See, he calleth them by name because he's talking about the law, statutes, and judgments. That's how he calls them by name. That's how he knows who you are. He don't care nothing about no flesh and how you dressed up.
Right.
He said, you see that flower right there? Solomon wasn't even arrayed like that. And we know how Solomon was dressed, but he said, look, that little flower was spinning like that out in the lawn is more arrayed than Solomon is. Because that's natural beauty.
That's right.
Yep.
He's dressed up.
Right.
What else it say?
Verse 4. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them.
What he do?
He goeth before them.
That's a leader, ain't it?
That's right.
Go ahead.
And the sheep follow him. For they know his voice.
What do they know?
They know his voice.
See, you got to know Messiah's voice.
That's right.
You got to know when somebody is trying to speak for the Messiah in a different voice. No, get out of here with that auto-tune of Lucifer.
So if you know his voice, then that means there's other voices that's
Yes, sir.
There you go. There you go.
better get it up.
Yep.
What else to say?
Verse 5. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
See, we go away from strangers. When we hear you, like, that sounds like Malachi York's doctrine.
Right.
That sounds like Benjamin Carter's doctrine or Hewlin Mitchell. That sounds like some Jim Jones doctrine. That sounds like some last day dung. Latter Day Saints or LDS, whatever they want to call it.
Who was Malachi York?
This was a former, wanted to be an R&B singer that found out he was Israel, but mixed it with Egyptology, Nubian, and about 10 of some cosmos talk, some talk from out of some books that ain't been dug into the Mormon doctrine and compiled it all in one pot and stirred it up like gumbo. If you see a picture of him, he got on a Catholic, that little white thing right here. He got an ark hanging, he got a kufu on his head, and he got a robe of a priest on right here from the Edomites.
And a Hamite.
Boy, you talking about, just think of them like this as special fried rice back in the day when you used to eat it back in the day. That's all it was.
Shrimp and pork don't even sound right together. What was your question? See, he had a question the other night, and I told him I wanted him to answer
I
that.
heard that before you read the scripture, you smoke, that's like strange smoke. Is that true?
If you do what?
If you smoke marijuana before you read the word, that's strange smoke.
That strange smoke. Who said that? What has read that?
Saying thank you, old green leaf.
No, I'm just saying if you sip some wine or something before you speak the scripture, that's the same thing. Well, we're talking about legality. It will look, before you call it a sin, there has to be a blood sacrifice. There has to be a blood sacrifice for it. See, this is what we're talking about, more strange voices.
Right.
Look, they just throwing that out there. Now, if you load it up and sudden memory loss overpower you and you can't deliver a lesson, then you intoxicated.
That's it.
That would be the only thing you can say. But you would have to find it where it says you can't do anything like that, and we know that that ain't the truth because he tells you just opposite. You know, but everything in moderation. Ain't that what it say? Now, if you sitting up there and you can't see it, somebody asking you a question and you just zoned out. If you find yourself sitting at a stop sign waiting for it to turn green, you done had too much.
Well, bro, just to take that temptation away, bring all that stuff over my house.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Just get rid of it.
But look, y'all, to be on the real side, if whatever creates a stumbling block for anybody for you to teach, it's a difference if it's for you to teach. If it's saying, well, okay, we got these brothers here, can we bypass that? If you can't bypass it, it's a problem then. If you have to have that to teach, then that's a problem. You don't need it to teach.
Or if it's a stumbling block for somebody you dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
Put it away.
Yeah, you can put that away because you don't need
on
it.
that stumbling block list too.
You don't need it.
Stumbling like a mug over it. But
Yes, sir.
Everybody keep forcing it in everybody's face.
Right.
You know, but see, that's strange voice. That ain't in the scripture. That's just made up. See, make them do what John say, prove all things. You know, that ain't hard, is it? If you gonna let it come out of your mouth, then you ought to be able to have done enough homework to prove it.
It'd be hard for them. It's easy for
You know,
you to say it.
yeah, like Colossians 2:16, let no man judge you in a feast day or a Sabbath day. You got to truly understand what that means when somebody judges you. That means they found you and put you into condemnation. You gotta prevent that from happening. Let's read some more.
But just in case, bro, if you need me.
Yeah, that's what he said when you get through. Look here, he'll hold it for you.
No, I'm going to get rid of it.
You gonna get rid of it?
It'll be there when you come back.
He'll hold it till he exhales. Verse 6.
Yeah.
This parable spake Jesus unto them. But when they understood not what things they were, which he spake unto them. I need to remember this verse.
Yeah.
You ain't know that?
Verse 7 in my class. Verse 7. Then said Jesus unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep.
See, it's of no private interpretation. It's of no thing you can have your opinion, I can have mine. He said, look, let me just break it down. Look, y'all don't know the answer. Look, it was an open book test. I'm going to give you the answer anyway. I'm the door. You can't go through Moses. You can't go through Joshua. You can't go through Malachi York. You can't go through Jim Jones. You can't go through David Koresh. I am the door. Let's read some up.
Verse 8.
Uh-huh.
All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers.
What are they?
Thieves and robbers.
Uh-huh.
But the sheep did not hear them.
The sheep know his voice. You know when it, that's why he say, be ye not deceived when the Antichrist. You ain't got to worry about that. If you know the Most High's voice, you cannot be deceived. It say, if it were possible, what would the Antichrist do?
Deceive the very elect.
If it were possible. But when the sheep know his voice, that's not possible.
right.
You can
Not
hear it. You
possible.
like, man, that's demon, doc. Get out of here with that.
Not possible. That's not the right voice.
That's not the right voice. I hear some auto tune. Go ahead.
9.
I can't stand auto-tune.
I know. Go ahead.
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved.
He shall be what?
He shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
Yo, that's what we want to find, is pasture. You see, we don't want to be going in and out, just in a circle like you going in what's them doing, them revolving doors, just back and forth.
Right.
Every wind of doctrine.
Right.
Y'all, this is why we have to be careful, especially women, because these men are taking advantage, and then you say, well, I just don't want to deal with it no more, and then you just start chasing anything else and anybody else, looking for that fix. Looking for it, but it ain't gonna happen no other way. You cannot leave your first love. Go ahead.
Verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for the steal.
But for what?
To steal, and to kill,
Right.
and to destroy.
That's what the thief come for. And that's your soul that they want. If anybody tell you, look, man, I know what the Messiah said, but look, that used to be back in them days. He say, I'm the same what?
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
So how do they get that off on you unless you want it gotten off on you? You're looking for a way to get out of it. Go ahead.
I think it was Matthew 5, and the Messiah was talking about he comes from the field of law. In the Hebrew, fulfill means to interpret correctly.
Yeah.
So he came, he interpreted correctly so everybody have the right
Understanding.
Right understanding, yes sir.
Right, and that's why they killed him, because he had the right understanding, and they used it to manipulate people. They was using the word to manipulate the people. So it was political.
Seducing.
Right.
Strong delusion. Like the Antichrist gonna do. Iniquity already at work. They already practicing.
He had the same role as a public defender.
Yes, he did. Boy, look.
Make it to where you understand it. Right? Huh? Let me let you understand what the Father is saying.
Yeah.
That's the same thing
And
the
see,
public defender does in jail.
And that's what that's what a leader does. He breaks it down to you so it's without excuse. He said, I'm gonna make this plain enough. If you got the mind of a 5-year-old being a grown man, I'm gonna make this plain for you because it's not grievous. Let's read some more.
Verse 10 again. The thief cometh not, but to steal, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
How much more?
Abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep.
See what the wolf would see what he'll do. That one,
The hireling.
the hireling. See, and say when he see him coming, he'll burn out.
Right.
Because it's just a job to him.
It's just a job to him. It's
Right.
not this. It's just
They ain't
you
my
have
sheep.
people
Right.
that
They ain't my sheep.
They're
Exactly.
opportunists. That's what a wizard is. A warlock. When you look up the first definition of it, it'll say an opportunist. Like Simon the sorcerer, he was an opportunist. Like those ones that setting up the statue for Diana, they were opportunists. They were feasting on the people's fear of not knowing who the Most High was and want to trust in something, so they just gave him a God. Just like Samuel when he had to tell him, Samuel, they ain't belittling you, they at me when they tell you they want a king like the other nations. They want a king that can die and can't do nothing for them. He said, okay, go ahead, tell them they can have a king, and y'all see what kind of king they got. But go ahead.
Start at 12 again. But he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth. And the wolf catches them and scattereth the sheep.
What the wolf do?
He scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep, and I am known of mine.
What does he say? I'm known of mine. See, somebody will know when you speak in the gospel because it's all or nothing. Ain't no compromise about this.
No.
Ain't no we got a problem with Luke this. How you got a problem with it?
Ain't no agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's right. That's not found in these scriptures. We're not going to agree to disagree. This is the way it goes. Either you in or you out. Let's read some more.
Me too. 15. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep.
What he do?
He lays down his life for the sheep.
He don't run off.
Right.
He's not a runner.
I'm finna go get some bread.
How you got if you got a deadbeat dad in charge and he done run off on all his chillings, how you think he ain't gonna run off on his flock right there? Where we at?
16. And the other sheep I have, which are not of this fold.
Which are not what?
Of this fold. Them also I must bring. And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
See, because y'all, you gonna have to understand that whether you like it or not. Because he ain't gonna put us in a land and not have somebody that knows the land and moving around that's gonna be of that fold and know the voice. Y'all children of the Lord, come this way. How we gonna move around in this land if it wasn't for what's so-called abolitionists? That's why Deuteronomy 23 say don't abhor in Edomite. It didn't say you gotta do them all. It say you gonna need one wherever you at. They got to be, how you gonna move in somebody else's land?
Clearly says.
Where you get that from? Where you ever seen somebody just move like that through somebody else's territory without an inside connect?
It's like Thursday I went to get my prescriptions, and it was a brother that hit me to it, but it was the pharmacist that confirmed it. He was like, the brother said, I don't know why your insurance company is charging you $50 for this medicine. And the pharmacist heard him. And he came over and said, yeah, he looked it up and said, we sell that on the shelf over there for $11.99.
Yo.
You don't have to buy this no more through your prescription and your insurance company.
Right.
They charge you $50 for it, and we sell it for $11.99. You can just buy it off the shelf now. So that's what that means. That somebody else is looking out for you, and you didn't even know.
Right.
But there was a God-given blessing.
Right.
That you ain't got
One
to pay
Charlie
for yet.
Sheen daddy jumped out of that one. You get this for $8. Where we at, y'all? Go ahead.
16, that's where you
16 again. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I may take it again. No man taketh it from me.
No man put him to death, y'all. Y'all understand this? He laid his life down for the children of Israel.
Yep.
Go ahead.
But I lay it down of myself.
Of what?
Of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father.
See, that was a commandment it said he received of his Father. See, the Father told him, this is what you're going to do. Self-resurrection. And then you'll take over after that. Lay down your life and watch yourself live again.
You got the power to stop.
You got the power. You got the juice.
But you let them do it. Just so you can come back.
Yeah, he could have called a legion of them real quick.
But then we still be peddling turf doves.
Yeah, we would be. Yeah, we would, because of the broke prophets. John 12:23, y'all. And y'all read, this is starting about the Passover when the Messiah was talking around this time.
Verse
And,
19. Okay.
yeah, we're gonna start at where you starting, John 12.
What, you done in here?
Oh, you
Yeah, we done with that, yeah,
I thought you
yeah.
were gonna hold that.
No, I was gonna go get them all, but we short for just a little bit of time.
John 12 and 17.
Yeah,
you said? Right, you said 23.
I said 23? Okay.
Which one you want, 17 or 23?
John 12 started, gonna start at 23.
Okay.
See, but 17, y'all, this is talking about the Passover, and then as they were getting closer, Lazarus, who he had resurrected, the Pharisees would want to put him back to death because it was putting them out of business, because they can't do no miracles. None. They cannot do any miracles. So they was like, look, the people don't even listen to us no more. So as it gets on down, you know, even when you get to verse 20, that's going to be hard for anybody to try to say
That's where I want to start.
the Gentiles
Yeah,
were
I'm sure.
strange Israelites. That's going to be a problem right there.
Perfect second witness.
Where you starting that
We're
out?
going to start at 20 because
Go ahead,
20
yeah.
starts the second witness of what we just read.
Yeah.
When he said about the sheep of his other, he had other sheep
Yeah.
of another fold.
Right.
So, verse 20. John 12, verse 20. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast.
The Passover, look at these Greeks. So look, they can't be Israelites that you're calling Greeks or in the Greek mindset. It can't be that, because then they know they're not in the Israelite, in the pagan mindset anymore. They're coming up to the feast of Passover. So why would you still call them Gentile? They in their right mindset. They at the feast. They know what's going on. They know what their heritage is. How you still gonna label them somebody else and they on the right road? Unless it's somebody else, and why this is a capital. Greeks.
Them unknowing Israel.
Unless this of the other fold right here. Look, if you're gonna bring Israel back into the fold as one, you can't still bring them back into the fold with them with the mindset that you still look at them like Gentiles.
They really Israel.
Then we gonna be looked at like that.
Right.
We come out to church, didn't we?
Right.
So that meant we was in that mindset. Y'all don't think it was Hebrews back in the day just passed us coming out of New Mount Tabor on Easter? Look at them knucklehead Greek niggas. If it had been hell, we was in that line if that was the case.
Sure was.
But it ain't. Let's read some more.
Verse 21.
What it say?
The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethesda of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Jesus.
So you know this ain't no Israelites. These are Greeks, and they went to an Israelite. Man, can we holler at him?
Right.
The king, can we? They went through the proper procedure.
Right.
Just like the boy in Acts 10. Cornelius.
Right.
Came to Peter, the right order.
Right.
Go ahead, where we at?
22. Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and again Andrew and Philip tell Jesus.
Right.
And Jesus answered them, saying, The hour is come, that the Son of Man should be glorified.
Right.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone.
Right.
But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit.
Right.
He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal.
So you're saying, what does verse 24 mean? So real quick before we move on, just give me a little bit of 1 Corinthians 15:35, just so we'll understand what the Messiah was saying about losing your life, but you can't lose your soul. Y'all, that's eternal. This is a flesh move and talk, but just real quick, just 35 and 36. Just run that real quick, y'all, and we'll get a good understanding of what he was meaning about verse 24, and then we'll pick it right back up and keep on going. Because I want to get right into the Acts, the main reason we're discussing this. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 35.
Yeah.
But some man will say, How are the dead raised up?
What will some man say?
How are the dead raised up? And with what body do they come? Thou fool.
Thou what?
Thou fool. That which thou sowest.
Thou do what?
That which thou sowest is not quickened, except it die.
Except it do what?
Die.
So, y'all, and when you go on down and go on to break it down, it's like, look, the Messiah had to lay down his life in this flesh so it to live again. You're going to have to lay down your flesh so it can live again.
That's right.
You can't take this dead flesh into the kingdom.
Right, you better come to terms
It's
with that.
rotten, it's got old stitch marks on it.
Yep.
Say it again louder, bro.
Corruption cannot inherit incorruption.
Corruption cannot inherit incorruption.
I can't take my melanin with me.
You can't take it with you. None of it. It's corruption. So y'all get me right back in that John. Let's finish that up so we get caught up with this Acts, because I want to get into that 9 all. It seemed to be a problem for some people. We're hearing the voice of the Lord. We're going to get into some of that 1 Corinthians 14 so you know exactly where Paul was in this vision. Go ahead.
Verse 26. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour.
Right.
Father, glorify my name.
Thy name.
Thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven.
Where the voice come from?
From heaven. Saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people therefore that stood by and heard it said that it thundered.
What they say it did?
It thundered.
See, we just read in Psalm 29 how his voice thundered right from heaven. That's what say some people, I heard it. When I heard it, it sounded like thunder. What some other people say?
Many waters.
Yeah.
And okay, I get you.
Well, you better start coming
look
around
here.
a little more.
Wait, look. Hold on. What did you do with that? You didn't get that to him, did you? No,
And said it thundered. Others said, an angel spake to him.
what they say, what others say?
An angel.
See, so when the Most High is talking, some people hear certain things and some people hear certain things. But when you don't know the voice of the Lord, you're not sure of what you're hearing. See, when you know it, you can repeat it back to people what they heard. But those who are around don't know what the Lord is saying to them. They don't hear his voice. They hear a sound, but it makes no understanding to them.
Right.
And this is what Paul gonna get to and explain it on the road to Damascus. Like when people speak in tongues, y'all, that actually happened. But when there's no interpreter, he's talking to God. The problem is, that's where they stop and leave it at that with no edification. That's the problem. All throughout these scriptures, the voice will be edified. It will edify you so that you don't be left wondering what the voice says. What you think he mean by that? Every time the disciples, he say, oh, you too without understanding. Tell you what, let me break it down to you in layman's terms. A sower went out to sow. So if you're a farmer, you understand, okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you. Yeah, we right here. We right here. You can understand when you right there. You know, when you're right here, but when you just bob in your head like we used to do in church and ain't understanding nothing the pastor talking about, got your Bible like this looking and he and you like, I don't know what the hell they talking about as crazy as I am with this book upside down. That's about how it is when you're not understanding. It's like you got the book upside down because you'll never understand it from that perspective. Because you don't hear his voice. How you hear his voice and it's telling you not to do what he say? Ain't that what your parents used to tell you? Oh no, you didn't hear what I said. I heard you. I heard. If you'd have heard me, you wouldn't have had nobody in my house when I told you not to. You didn't hear me. I heard you. Oh, okay, I'm gonna see if you heard me. I guarantee you will hear from then on. You get all them sugar babies out your ears. Yeah, that's what it is, though. Well, some people dig in their ear. You be like, Andy?
Plain image.
Go ahead. Where we at, bro?
Verse 30.
What it say?
Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sake.
But for whose sake?
For your sake. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me.
Right.
This he said, signifying what death he should die.
See, so y'all read the rest of that on out, but this is what he's saying. If I be lifted up on the cross, it's for y'all's sake. I have to fulfill Isaiah 53, Psalm 110. You know, Micah 5. If I don't do that, it's all a waste. It's in vain, but y'all have to listen to me. Y'all have to hear my voice. Don't care about cause this charlatan over here pulling trick. You can't listen to that. It's going to run out. That voice is going to run out. Let's get right to it, Paul, y'all. Acts 9th chapter. Y'all, this is where I want to get to. We're going to get through this because I want to get through that 1 Corinthians 14 to bring some understanding of what Paul was talking about. The Most High. Look. It's people in here right now say, man, I heard the Lord's voice as clear as day. Now, my brother was in the room, but he didn't hear it. I'm telling you. So your brother didn't hear it. Man, he didn't hear it. I'm telling you, I heard it. What language was it? It's going to be in a language for you to understand it.
Yes, sir.
Not tongues, but
He's not going to speak to you in Chinese and there's no interpreter there when he's talking to you, but you hear his voice. I've heard a voice say my name and you, huh? Guess what it was? I had 15 minutes to be to work. Boy, some hard partying and had to get up and go to work. Where we at?
Acts 9.
I think it's Exhibit.
Who got it?
Oh, okay.
Go to verse 1. Oh,
Exhibit.
The juice on the other side.
you want that?
What he poured for them.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, I wonder what you get. I thought it was you. You good, Daddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm still loaded up.
Yeah.
Acts 9 and 1.
Acts chapter 9, verse 1.
And look, y'all, understand this is after the day of Pentecost. This is when the gift was given out of tongues, y'all. Was given out for a reason because you're taking it to the nations now. This ain't got nothing to do with what you see in a Pentecostal church coming in a Honda, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. None of that. You don't hear his voice if you're saying that. You know why? Because you're saying if you don't do that, you cannot be saved. That ain't in the Bible. Because the script say, greater is he that prophesied than he that do what?
Speak in tongues.
Then that's a problem off the top, ain't it?
Yep.
You're telling me something moved up and say, lest he edify. So we need to know what you said. You got to get out of where I was talking to God. You got to tell us what you said.
Right, no doubt.
So we'll know what's going on. Let's get it. Acts 9 and 1.
Acts chapter 9, verse 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughters against the disciples of the Elohim, went into the high priest.
See, Saul was a Pharisee of the highest level. He was slaughtering Israelites that believed in the Messiah. Go ahead.
And desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem.
Y'all see how this was working for women too then back then? He like, look, if it's some women that believe in this Messiah, bring them too. Tie them up and bring them on back too.
Equal rights.
Equal rights. Go ahead.
Say there was no disrespected persons there.
Verse 3. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Yahweh, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the prick.
See, he's saying you're persecuting me, but you're fighting uphill. It's like you keep kicking a toothpick with no shoe or sock on. How long you gonna keep doing that? How many times can you withstand that? Boy, just keep kicking a toothpick. Every corner you turn, you kick it again. That foot gonna be tender, ain't it? Boy, you gonna be in a house shoe at work. That's be the only thing you can wear. You're using heavy machinery. Where we at?
Verse 5. No, verse 6. And he trembled, trembling and astonished said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Elohim said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do.
See how he didn't just give him all the instructions. I got to give you the peace and see if you're going to even do that. You know, cause he like, oh, you scared now, ain't you? What you want me to do? He said, just go into the city. You'll get further instructions there. See, y'all, that's why we have to understand this scripture like this. You'll get further instructions if you just be patient. You can't make the day of the Lord tomorrow. Right. You can't put the Antichrist on the throne. Look, Obama then came and went. And how many videos flew around that he was the Antichrist? See, Obama, when you put 6 on Obama, you get 666 Obama. He the Antichrist, brother. No, he ain't.
And even got people too that look at him as the Messiah. They say, you know
what I'm saying?
What did he do? What did he do? What did he do?
But what we're talking about is, y'all, we have to be patient to hear his voice. You cannot rush prophecy. He done came and went, then as Trump, he came and went.
It went real quick.
Yeah, they said he was going to be the last president.
Look, on Page and Taylor, we had somebody saying that's not none messing tomorrow. Bush was going to be the last president.
Russian prophecy.
Russian prophecy to make it fit. This is a patient walk. Yep. Y'all know when the disciples heard this, that was 2,200 years ago. It's going to be soon. 2,200 years ago. It's going to be soon. So they tired.
Right.
What'd you say, Elder Judah?
And he said, then the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
At hand, then 2,200 years ago. But it is at hand because it can come like a thief in the night. And y'all know what that's like.
Yep, just like the class started out with Moses. Say, I'm going to send a prophet amongst your brethren.
Yeah.
And raise him up, and he is the one you shall hear.
That's what you should hear.
So there's patience.
Yeah.
There's patience. You got to just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing and waiting on the Lord for real.
But you know, that's funny, because I can remember years ago when I was young, you'd always see those people with the signs, the end is near.
Yeah. John 3:16.
Right, you'd be like, that nigga crazy. Now I'm the one out there with repent now. You know, I'm like, damn, that's me.
Yeah. But look, as you grow, you get understanding.
That's
what you
right,
got, Theo?
Yeah.
When he was saying the kingdom is not, he was saying the kingdom mindset is here.
It's now. It's right now. Look, you may have to die first, but look, the language is already saying that you follow me, I'm going to die. You may have to die. Some of y'all, they going to cast into prison. Some of y'all, they going to kill before it go down. So once you lock into that, you already know it could be tomorrow.
Yeah, my pastor said we going to float on.
Right. We're going to be raptured up.
No. It ain't in there. It ain't in there, y'all, because we in plagues and it's COVID and they pastors died. It's a problem. Your pastor and y'all done missed the rapture. Hell, if he dead, you know you done missed it. How you at his funeral?
Right.
He said we was leaving together.
Right.
Where we at?
He left me.
Verse 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man.
So this is the question and concern when we get right over the 22nd chapter, same Acts. It's saying the men that with him stood with him speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. Y'all, when we get down to the final summation of this, when you understand what that's going to mean, you can hear a voice, but you don't see no man. You know, just like when you tell somebody, man, I heard a voice call my name as clear as day. You didn't see no man, did you? I mean, it's people tell you every day, clear as day, I heard it. You know, but it's the instructions. What did you hear after that? If you heard rob that bank, that wasn't the Most High.
No.
Get with the line.
Right, let's get some more. Where we
We gonna get him on the parking lot.
Where we at?
Verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And Saul arose from the earth.
Where did he arise from?
The earth.
Uh-huh. See, and y'all, look what happens a lot of time when y'all see these things and you get hit and you fall, you're automatically knocked into a trance because the light is almost like being struck by lightning. Almost, look, every UFO movie do the same exact thing. It comes, the light hit them, they hit the deck, and when they wake up, they something's going on. If you watch the one about John Travolta, what was it called? Remember that one? You see that where his mental went to another level. But it's the same pattern. Hollywood don't go away from the pattern. The only difference is they want you to think that voice is coming from aliens. And you know, but which are nothing more than demons that's going to be coming back. But the Most High sheep know his voice. How you going to have a crash of an alien and the alien die?
Right.
They supernatural.
Right.
How you got an alien body?
I've been meaning to ask you that.
When we going to get Satan's body and his demons that fell? Where their bodies at? The demons jumped out the man and went into the herd of swine, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it say the swine drowned, not the demon.
Right.
Didn't it? It say the demons go out and come back when the house is clean. He bring back 7 of his buddies. If you still lusting after that same desire. He said, I got it 7 times. I know you've been missing it. Let's get some more.
Verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And Saul arose from the earth. And when his eyes were open.
When his eyes was what?
Open.
Y'all see, he was knocked almost into a coma, so to speak. He was knocked into what we call, what he read, a trance. Go ahead.
And he saw no man, but they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus.
Wait a minute, he saw no man. He opened his eyes, he saw no man. This means either they was gone or he blind at this point. He was blinded by that light. It was that bright and powerful. Go ahead.
And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him said Elohim in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Elohim said unto him, Arise, go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayed. And he seen in a vision.
What he seeing?
He seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand over him that he might receive his sight.
So he had already seen in a vision, he saw this Ananias coming and putting his hand on him and say, you're going to receive your sight back as quick as the Most High blinded him. He gave him back his sight that quick. Because he was kicking against the pricks the whole time when he was killing Israelites. But he's like, man, why you fighting? What's going to happen anyway? You know what you and them Pharisees are up to? Why you kicking against the pricks? Why would Malcolm X talk about when he busted that preacher's head in jail when the Hebrews black? Don't the Bible say the Hebrews were black? And then you still a Muslim after that?
Right.
Championship bout and everybody's clapping on you. You the man, you the new preacher in prison, and then you go to another doctrine?
Right.
But see, you use the Bible to get your strength.
Right.
Like all of them do. Like these latter day saints using that LDS. Last day-ish.
And see, that's like what we read earlier, what he just said, the example of Malcolm X, that we just read there when the Messiah said about you go in and out the door.
Right.
See, he went out the door. He knew he was inside the door and knew who he was.
Opportunist.
But then he walked outside the door with that ish.
Look, it's an opportunist. I need it right now for this battle. It's the only thing that can win this war right now because I'm going to beat him at his own game.
There it is. There it is.
He ain't read the book. Just like ain't no Muslim read the Quran. They're like, brother, do you know your Bible?
Right.
When they gonna say, brother, you know your Quran?
Never.
Brother, you know your last day-ish?
Well, see, that's the thing about it is when Malcolm came to him in the movie like that, he didn't come to him with a Quran. He came to him with the script.
Come on, man. Let's read some more.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
Then Ananias answered Elohim, I have heard by many of this man, how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem.
Now look, Ananias had already heard about Saul, how much dirt he had done, killing Hebrews for believing in the Messiah, but he did what he heard the voice tell him to do. Don't care nothing about that, go touch him. Go do what I say. See, and he was a prophet at that time in Jerusalem. You know, but he wasn't bringing in the kingdom. When they say the prophets were unto John, that means of introducing the Messiah to the people. After that, it cut off. It's been fulfilled. We can't go further. If you let it go further, then Muhammad gonna sneak in there. Then Joseph Smith gonna get in there. If you let it go past John. After John, you still got prophets, but they're prophesying events that will happen for the kingdom about the kingdom's sake. Like Paul ready to spread the word. A prophet had to go and tell him what was facing him so he would truly understand and stop kicking against the pricks. What you got, bro?
So basically, when he got struck, it was the Most High introducing him to the order of Melchizedek.
Right.
Because he was under the order of Aaron.
Right.
Studied under the feet of Gamaliel. That's all he knew.
Right.
He didn't understand Melchizedek, but when he got that wake up,
Yes, sir. That's what I'm fighting against.
That's what it was
That's
baptism.
what he's doing.
That was Paul's baptism.
Let's get it. Where we at?
That's beautiful, Theo. That was Paul's baptism.
Right.
Like we came into the truth.
Yeah.
We've been baptized by fire. That was Paul's baptism.
Yes, it was.
by fire.
There you go.
What we got to?
And here he has authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Elohim said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me.
What is he?
A chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles.
Before the
and
who?
Kings, before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel.
Now wait a minute. We can't have this all Israel.
Right.
Is that the same thing? It says all Israel and the children of Israel. Is that just 2 tribes or is it 12?
12.
So who are this other 2 groups before the Gentiles and kings? Who was the king? And no Israelite kings around at this time, was it? So what king is he talking about?
Gentile king.
He got to be talking about them. You got to tell my name before them to tell them the king is in town.
Right.
The true king.
King of Kings.
Thief and robbers get on notice.
Yeah.
You going, Imam? You don't need to talk to me about nothing, do you? Huh? Okay, all right. Y'all be careful out there, Imam.
Shabbat shalom.
Tell Mrs. Thanks for that suit.
He made it.
Yes, sir.
We need a bigger party. He said he wanted to prove that his tastes better than mine.
Oh. Well, look, the only reason because it's your pot. Let's get it, y'all. Shabbat Imam.
Shalom, Imam.
That's right. Most I be with you.
Where we at?
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name.
What he gonna do?
Suffer for my name's sake.
See, because you made a lot of other people suffer. That's how the Most High put it back around on y'all, and this is what we're talking about. If you done defame the Lord, he tell you, go back and tell everybody you disrespected me too. If you my disciple, there should be no problem. And that's why a lot of people still didn't trust Paul. They like, wait a minute, no, this the setup move. You ain't about the Messiah. You finna try to kill us if we say we down with him. He had a hard road, y'all, but he took it. Because he say the power I just saw, I ain't worried about no Pharisees or nobody else. I ain't worried about no king. What just happened to me? A king can't do this to me.
Right.
And I know them Pharisees can't do nothing. The way they just hustling on the side. What you got, nurse?
There was a young sister used to come down here all the time, and she was on Facebook, and she said she was telling people about praying to the dead, stuff like that, and then she came on and apologized. She said, if I sent anybody down the road,
Good. Wonderful.
for necromancy and praying to the dead, I'm sorry. I repent for myself, and I repent that I told y'all to do that stuff.
Yes, sir.
So she turned she repented and turned her ways and, you know, told everybody she was wrong. She admitted
She followed instructions.
Look, what she do
She
there?
followed instructions.
Real-
That's what I wanted to say. I'm glad you gave an example.
Right.
What I was going to say is that as we have learned and come into the truth, that's one of the key things that we learned. And I ain't heard a brother or sister yet say anything against it, because we all learn and say, I'm not above reproof and correction.
That's the key.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not, if I'm wrong about something, show me I'm wrong, and I'll admit it.
Yeah.
Fess it up easily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that was a good example that you gave.
Right.
But that's the thing, just like what he just said about Paul. Paul had to go back. He said, what's the problem then?
Yeah.
If I got a problem having to go back and tell somebody I'm sorry,
Right.
then the problem is you.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Because if you don't, you're gonna face this. Just real quick, y'all. Ezekiel 3, give me 17. Real quick, y'all, so we get some understanding. And y'all, this covers, because we had a situation where we was talking about what is judgment do. We can't judge nobody. No, we can't put anybody into the lake of fire. But you can judge a matter. Look, the two witness rules is judgment. Look, you go to your friend. If he don't want to hear you, then you go get 2 or 3, right?
Right.
If he don't want to hear them, then you go to the church, right?
to the church.
And then if he don't want to hear the church, then there's a judgment made, ain't it? To count this man as a what?
A heathen man.
Because he's not doing what? Following the law of repentance or accepting forgiveness or repentance, whatever the case may be. There's a decision, there's judgment have to be made. We got to count you as a heretic or a heathen man.
He sets you as a mark.
As a mark, we got to put you out. There's been a judgment made against you. No, we ain't put you in a lake of fire, but we had to get you away from us. Where we at?
You say you
Ezekiel
want
chapter 3, verse 17.
Yes, sir.
Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
Yeah.
Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me.
See, he say, hear the word at my mouth. Listen exactly what I'm saying from my mouth. I want to hear about them charlatans over there. Go ahead.
Verse 18.
Uh-huh.
When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way,
Right.
to save his life. The same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand.
Look, if somebody tell you, man, I'm finna go do this, man, it's gonna be murder, suicide, man, she can't play me like that. And you like, dog, I feel you. I can understand that, you know, dog. Killing them would make you feel better. If you don't tell him, you better not go over there, boy, your soul will be required in hell. Is you losing your damn mind? What's wrong with you? If you don't warn him and you let him go over there knowing that just had a crazy incident here, boy, crazy and mad, love gone bad. He killed, how do you kill a 8 month, was the baby 1 or 8 months old? How do you pull a trigger at a baby?
Bruh, look. And that's funny you speak on that, because I was thinking about that earlier. You look at how it's Matthew 24 and 12 all day. But 1 week it's a she-brew and her 7-year-old daughter. The next week it's a brew and his 7-year-old daughter. The other day it's a sister and her 2 children.
You talking
7 years old and 10 months old.
Cold. Yo, and that's Israel doing that.
Who kills children? Who kills baby girls,
look,
man?
This what we talking about. Rachel weeping.
Who killed women, man?
Man, this where the love is gone so crazy, it's done gone to this point.
Hey dog, my spirit is vexed.
Boy, look here. And it's the same reason, and y'all know what the reasoning is.
Yeah.
You can see the way he fleed on the bus. He ain't got no car.
Right.
He out of money. He short money.
He lost his support.
Look, it's the same thing. It's the same rules when you get in a relationship and there's this problem, because a broke man is like a broke hand. Ain't nothing you can do with it till it heals.
Right.
What you gonna do with a broke hand? You can't scratch, you can't pull, you can't dig.
Yeah, you can't.
Until it's healed.
Right.
And the same way with a broke man, until he's healed, till he get money back in his pocket. That drama of, you ain't on my lease, 9-1, and then he have to leave.
Right.
With no money. Can I stay tonight? Is that couch still on back there? That's the problem. Then he come back killing. A broke man is like a broke hand. Until it heals, what use do you have? Like this, what you gonna do with this? You're just like this in a sling. I mean, you got a soda in this hand and you itching in the rear. What you gonna do?
Put the soda down.
Oh, okay. All right. Because you sure can't ask nobody. All right. Go ahead. Where we at?
Back it up.
Yeah, I want you to go a little bit more on that.
Oh,
Yeah, go down just a little bit more.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity.
Uh-huh.
But thou hast delivered thy soul.
But thou hast delivered thy soul, y'all. So there's a difference in a snitch versus a spiritual whistleblower. There's two different things, y'all. I want y'all to understand. A snitch is somebody that's doing a crime with you and then sell you out. That's a snitch.
Right.
How you, the snitch, two men rob a bank. They send the dogs in there, they get you and they got you heading out the door and then you out, come on man, they got us. You like, wait a minute, they got you. The hell? They got us. You like this snitch stuff out. They like, oh, Samoa and us, send them dogs back in there. But a whistleblower is just like, you know, I used to do a little moonlighting DJing and the hottest cut was too short, blow the whistle.
Uh-oh.
Never listen to the lyrics, just the beat was off the chain. But when you look at the lyrics, what he's telling you, when you see bad behavior, blow the whistle like a referee, blow the whistle. There's a foul. Blow the whistle, brrr, throw the flag. Thomas know what I'm talking about. That's an inside joke, but blow the whistle. Time out for wickedness. Blow the whistle. It's a flag. That's 15 yards right there. You can't go do that, bro. You gonna get thrown out the game. You do that.
And what game was they talking about? If it was too short.
Look, game of life.
You know, that down to 21. Huh?
Go ahead, bro.
Verse 20. Again, when the righteous man does turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and lay a stumbling block before him,
And I lay.
and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin.
What he gonna die in?
In his sin.
Ooh.
And his righteousness, which he had done, shall not be remembered. But his blood will I require at thine hand.
Uh-oh.
That's that blood spilling blood
Yes,
on
sir.
the ground I was talking about earlier. That Israel be doing.
Yes, sir.
Verse 21. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man, and the righteous sin not, and he doeth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also, thou hast delivered thy soul.
Thou hast delivered your soul, y'all. It ain't like you rat nobody out, but if you seen that bastard blow that baby's head off, and I just don't want to call him that, but if you seen it, I don't care what argument they got into.
None.
How you gonna execute her, the babies?
Innocence.
Y'all, the Most High said it's been better that he had not been born. That ain't for me to guess what's going to happen until him here. It's just a warning that him saying it's been better that you had a... Look, your father had to say never mind to your mama.
Right.
Billy D said. Right. It should have pulled out.
Boy, look here. I didn't want to say it. Y'all going to say it anyway. Trying to keep it clean short is listening. But hopefully they don't know what... Hopefully they don't know what cordus interruptus is.
Oh, yeah, you gonna name it.
Where we at?
They can look back.
Where we at, y'all?
Where you
We going back. Yeah, we're going right back to Acts. Where we at on that? Because I want to get right into 9:22. Y'all read the rest of that, but that's Paul explaining what happened to him. But the key verses, what we're talking about, is verse 7, when it said the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. So a lot of naysayers gonna run you right to Acts 22, which we go to, y'all. So what we do is always go right exactly to where they're talking about and see if they have true understanding of it, because you can't ask for the Holy Spirit to come to you and curse Christ at the same time. You will not receive it.
Right.
It's impossible to receive it, so you cannot decipher this when in the back of your mind you're trying to shoot Christ down. Right. And you're trying to use Paul to do it.
Paulianity.
Yeah, Paulianity or the Pauline doctrine.
Yeah.
You want to make them a woman, do you? But see, it's what Peter said. Peter said they wrestle with Paul writings to their own destruction. Let's get it 22. We can pick it up about 9.
Where you at?
Acts 22. I tell you, go 1 through 9, and then we'll just jump right to. I want to get right to 1 Corinthians 14, because it's very important when you hear the voice of the Lord, and when you say, "I know I heard His voice," and people say, "What did He say? What did He say?" I heard it. You know, there's a way when He explained it to you, say, "Well, what did He say to you?" Well, He'll explain it to me later. I'm gonna go pray about it that I get some understanding, because it's an Israelite out here. His name David something. He been wearing them camp Negroes out on the street corner. Good. Working them over, and then he spoke in tongues, and they say, "What you say?" He like, "Oh, so you don't think that that's possible? What I just said?" And they standing there looking garbed up. And he said, "Go to 1 Corinthians 14 and 2, and read that to them, and they standing there like dumbfounded. And I'm saying, why don't they bag him up to verse 1 and get the matter of what he doing? But they ain't studied like that. They wasn't prepared for the Most High say, learn the wiles of the devil. His doctrine and teaching. He's going to try to use my word, but he's going to cut it and dice it and slice it and make you think it's the real deal. No, that's artificial. What he doing with the scripts. Where we at? 22 and 1.
Still me?
Yeah.
Acts chapter 22, verse 1. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense.
What he saying?
Hear ye my defense.
See, because in the prior chapter, Paul had to speak to him because they had him up on council. He's like, look, I can defend myself. Go ahead.
Hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And when he had heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said. See, so look, they were stunned by Paul, because Paul was just raised in city. He just like what the Israelite that was, like we was raised in America, he just was raised in Tarsus. Rome. That's why Paul was raised. But he tell you in Romans 9, I'm an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin. I know my order. I'm just a Roman citizen. Just like we Israelites of the tribe of Judah, we just American citizens. That's all he's saying. So I speak fluent Greek. Like we speak fluent what?
English.
And broken English.
Yeah, no doubt. Ebonics.
Ebonics, yeah. So, but we speak the language that we can communicate in the land that we live in. Let's get some more. So when they stunned, they're like, oh, he speak brute language. They stunned now. Go ahead.
Verse 3. I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Sicily. Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward Yahweh, as ye all are this day. And I persecuted this way unto death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women, as also the high priest does bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem, for to be punished. For to be what? Punished. And it came to pass that as I made my journey and was come nigh unto Damascus about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. And I fell into the ground, and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Elohim? And he said unto me, I am Yahushua of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. And they that were with me saw indeed a light.
The light.
And were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me.
So when you go back to 9 and 7, it says opposite.
Yeah.
It says, but it's saying the same thing. It's all dependent on if you understand. Paul is now understanding, and he's explaining how I heard the voice, and them, they didn't hear what I heard. They didn't hear what Messiah told me. You kicking against the pricks. That was personal with me. I was knocked unconscious basically into another realm, and he's talking to me. You got to go back and straighten all this out. They didn't hear none of that. For one, they on their face, they scared to death too. They didn't hear it. So he's not saying that in one breath he said the men that were around me. He's saying in this voice, they didn't interpret the language. They didn't know what was said, because you can see what happened after that. None of them men know what it was. A prophet came to him and told him, this is what you got to do. This is what the Lord is saying. Them men didn't know nothing about that. They was looking around about like, man, what just happened here?
Right.
He like, man, he struck me first. I'm going to tell y'all what just happened. This is what he said to me. They didn't hear any of them struck.
Right.
Go ahead, where we
I got
at?
a second witness. When Abraham was taking Isaac up on the mountaintop to sacrifice him, there was 4 people that took that trip. It was Ishmael, and one of Abraham's servants. Well, Eliezer, yeah.
Right.
So they all took the journey. Then once they got to where the mountain was, Abraham and Isaac looked up there, and Abraham told Isaac, you see what I see? He said, yeah, I see it. And he asked the other 2, did y'all see that? They said, no. He said, no, wait here.
Right.
It ain't for y'all to come up there with us. This is a journey that me and him got to take ourselves. So y'all wait down here at the foot of the mountain, and we'll be back.
That's right. And look, we're going to hit right there. We're going to that next, the same similar incident in Matthew 17. But go ahead and finish this where we at.
Verse 10. And I said, what shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, arise and go into Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all the things which are appointed for thee to do. And when I could not see for the glory of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus. And one Ananias, a devout man.
What kind of man?
A devout man, according to the law.
See, why does that keep popping up? A devout man according to what?
The law.
See, there's only one way you can become a devout man. It has to be according to the law. It was how he was bringing off the law and understood prophecy that made him devout. You can say somebody wise and he know all the things. You can hear somebody just read off the scripture. Genesis, Leviticus, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and name them all, but don't know nary a chapter and verse when you ask them something. All they did was just repeated the names in there, but you don't know the information that's in beneath. It's like knowing your ABCs and then they tell you to point to a D and you don't know what it is. You just know the song. Right. A, B, C, won't you sing with me? Point to a D. Yeah. Then that means you can't spell your name. You just know the song.
Then just go to crying.
Boy, look here, just bust out crying. That's the delivering point. Go on, let him go. Go on in there with your dumb ass. Go. And we don't make it no better.
No, you ain't gonna get out the 8th grade now, boy.
Look here. Where we at?
Verse 12. And one Ananias, a devout man according to the law, having a good report of all the Jews which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive thy sight. In the same hour I looked up upon him, and he said, the God of our fathers has chosen thee, that thou shouldest know his will, and see that justly, and shouldest hear the voice of his mouth.
And should hear what?
The voice of his mouth.
Why does it keep sounding like this? And we done heard what he's saying, but they keep repeating it to him like it's something more you need to hear. When you hear the voice of the Lord, he tells you, you on a mission for me. And you don't stop. It's like Denzel Washington in the book of Eli. Right. Nothing turned him to the side. He's like, I gotta go west. All of the pitfalls and traps was about the Bible. but he had to keep going, and when they took it from him, and he had to study it every day, so he was on a mission to get to going where it could be reprinted and put back in population, but it was right here then. Right here, they put him in white robes too, didn't they? And he went to work in REM sleep, in a trance, reciting everything, Genesis 1:1 in the beginning, to Revelation 22 in the last verse. All the way, and you see him sticking on the shelf, bigger than all the rest of them that's up there. Let's read some more, y'all.
You just want to go to 14 on
No, I want to go to 17.
Okay. Verse 15. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard. And now, why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized and wash away thy sins, calling on the name of the Elohim. And it came to pass that when I was come again to Jerusalem, even while I prayed in the temple, I was in a trance.
I was in a what?
A trance.
Go ahead, yeah, keep going.
And I saw him saying unto me, make haste and get thee quickly out of Jerusalem, for they will not receive thy testimony concerning me.
See, and all of it, he's constantly giving him instructions, step-by-step instructions, so that, see how he's obeying. He got to deal with him like this. This was a killer of the people. Now you're going to send him back to the same people that he's known for doing this. They're like, no, we don't trust you. Right. He's got to go back to all them families and say, I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I didn't know, but the Lord set me straight. I understand how y'all feel about me, but I'm here to triple what I put to death. I got to try to bring back to life, so to speak. And he took some terrible beating. He was beaten 3 times. He run his jacket. I was stoned once. I was beat up a couple times. Some jack artists got me, took my mule, took my tent making tools.
In jail often?
Oh, in jail often. Look, I'm constantly. You think Martin Luther King got the arrest record? I got it. Where we at? Let's get right to it, y'all. We're going to hold that, but let's get right and finish it up, because he's going to have to explain it again so we understand why the other men didn't hear the voice. And then we're going to get into 1 Corinthians 14, y'all, and it's going to tighten it all the way up to understand what he heard. Even though he said, I heard it in the Hebrew tongue, they didn't hear the instructions, because the instructions wasn't for him. It's for the murderer of Israelites. I need you to hear me and go do what I tell you to do. Them men didn't hear the instructions. He heard it, but they knew he done heard something. Something that spooked him. Where we at? Acts. We'll go 26, start about 13.
You want Matthew 17.
I want Matthew 17. You see what I got, don't you? I was just testing. You the only one looking at your notes.
Yeah.
Hey, you looking at them better than me. Yeah, no, we'll go 17, 1 through 9. Right. Right, I don't go back. Go ahead.
Get on them, Zeb, like you do me.
No, it's too late now. We've already fixed it.
You missed one verse.
Come on, y'all. Matthew 17, 1 through 9. And then we're going to jump right back to this Acts 26, because we showed once what the Messiah said in John 12. You know, they heard the voice, and other men were saying it sounded like thunder. The other men say it was the voice of an angel. So does a voice of an angel sound like thunder? Well, it may sound like that initially, but thunder didn't explain to John the Baptist's mama what couldn't happen with Samson. You can't eat this, you can't do that. So that was understanding. That was an angel spoke to her. But initially they fell back too. You know, when they see that bright light, they know this is from another world. Y'all, this is another bright. This ain't none of that 3,000 lumen you can get from Harbor Tools. Ain't none of this. Just a total different brightness. It like snow will blind you on a sunny day if you look right at it and stare at it too long. Fresh snow, it'll blind you. You have to look away.
Snow blind.
This is 10,000 times the sun in its strength. And the sun is in its strength between 12 and 2 p.m. That's the time we couldn't go outside and play. It's too hot out there. Wait till the sun get out of its strength. Come on back in here. Where we at?
Reading in the book of Matthew, in the 17th chapter, we'll start our reading in verse 1.
Right. And y'all remember, all of this is taking place with dreams, visions, and trances that we keep saying that's the common denominator what's happening. You're walking in this realm, and then you get hit, boom, and you into a vision or a trance that quick. Out of body experience. And we're going to hit Paul. Paul's going to explain. Let's get it, y'all, real quick.
Verse 17 and 1. And after 6 days, Yeshua taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light.
So just like Moses did when he went up to get the commandment, his face was so bright they had to put a veil over it. They couldn't stand to look at it. The glory of the power is on you at this point. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him, and answered Peter, and said unto Yeshua, Master, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias.
See, because just like Jacob, when he had the vision with the ladder, he wanted to make a marker, set a pillar there. This is where the supernatural event happened at. This is where a portal opened up. Y'all, Moses and them, we were in a, but we'll see what it's going to say that they saw this happen, and they wanted to put a marker there. Jacob just put a marker there. He said, this is called Bethel. This must be the house of the Lord. The heavens opened up and he came down here. But you got some out there talking about, oh, that was a crystal or something that he laid his head on so you can get away with putting crystals under your pillow. That was a rock. He found and he poured all on it. And it said it's still there to this day. If that was a precious stone, do you think it'll still be there to this day? Right. Boy, come on. That thing would have been dug up and put in the pawn shop of the days back then. Where we at?
Verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them.
There we go again, the same consistency, y'all. Have we seen any difference in the consistency? Nope. Same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's the same process. It don't change. You can't let nobody bring it another process of how the Messiah speak to you or how you will hear that voice. When it comes from that realm and deals with this realm, it's one consistent pattern. Go ahead.
And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son.
What did it say?
This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid.
See, look, immediately that voice is so powerful, it has comatose power. I'm talking about when the voice of the Lord hit, it puts you almost into a coma. All you got to do is think about it when you refuse to go in the house playing dominoes and start sprinkling. You know your hand is loaded. The game almost over, but it's raining even a little bit better. You won't get up until you're boom, 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 boom. And when it turn everybody dominoes over, they'll be, it's time to go. Time to go. He didn't say it, yeah, it's time for y'all to go. Right. You don't have to interpret what that means. You know what that means. It's time, go in the house. That's what it means. Go in the house. Where we at?
Verse 7. And Yeshua came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man, save Yeshua only. And as they came down from the mountain, Yeshua charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man.
Tell the what?
Tell the vision to no man. Until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead.
Y'all go and continue to read that, but it was what it do automatically when you get into this realm, you go into what's called a trance or a vision. You're actually into a supernatural realm. Y'all, and this is what is happening with the cell phone. People are going into their conscious realm, into that, with this hook to this, and they are filming their crimes. Like that Negro on there and showing the 2 white women he just killed. He Instagram. Yeah, they snitching on me. My brother called me from jail. They snitched on me, but look at their asses now. Now he on the run high.
I got a perfect.
They got it.
I got a perfect example. My nephew just got locked up.
Boy, look here.
And his cell phone confirmed he was at the spot where that the thing.
Boy, look here. You tell on yourself. Look, this is what the Antichrist doing. He's there. Your conscience in here. How do you get up every morning? Getting up in the morning, brushing my teeth, y'all. Right. They got eggs and bacon here, y'all. You know, good turkey bacon. You know, I'm doing that. And then y'all getting myself ready. I'm in the car, y'all. I'm driving to work. Y'all, I'm stopping to get some gas. The yellow light was on, but I'm saying, how do you get locked in like that?
Vanity.
No, it's deeper than that. It's seduction.
And now you think with all these iPads and iWatches and they're hooked to your car. I was driving with somebody the other day, the car, their phone kept summoning them constantly. It made me want to throw mine away.
Look here. I left mine at home yesterday because I knew my mom probably called, but I'm like, I'm not turning around and going back. She called, but she finally called my wife and said, is your boy with you? And she said, yeah, he's with me. Okay, I'm cool. I can go back to sleep. But just that this like this, look, it was a man on, they was trying to figure out should they pull the plug on it. His wife was there. She like, this is terrible. They like, well, he's almost brain dead. He's not responding. And they said, well, you're going to have to let all his family know. She said, well, where is his phone? I'll call him. And he woke up. See, look, he wasn't going to let her get the phone. Right. See, it brought him out of the coma. So, some of that went, he like, shit, wait a minute, I'll call him. Hold on now. I'm almost dead, y'all. But he wasn't gonna let us get it. Look, you leave this at home, boy, you'll turn around, make a U-turn, or be tormented all day at work. Wonder who called me, wonder what said. Why did I leave it on the dresser, or did I leave it in another spot?
Right.
Where it can't be found, but hell, a ringer on.
Right.
Please don't call me who ain't supposed to call me. Please don't call me who ain't supposed to.
They even got those like how you can monitor your steps and your heart rate when you exercise and stuff.
Yeah.
They even have people giving the information from those health watches to the doctors to keep up with their heart monitor.
Well, what's going on with you? Y'all have to understand where we at with this thing, y'all. You can't be joined to the hip like that. You got to say, oh well. You can't be off the grid with this. This shows grid, latitude, and longitude. How you off the grid with this and it's showing grid location?
Right.
Yeah, they don't know where I'm at. We up real high.
Right.
You must be high.
Right, that's what's happening. Let's get this, y'all, because I want to hurry up and get into that Joseph real quick about another trance and what appears to be what they would consider necromancy or the dead talking of things that's happening. Y'all, we got to keep these things in perspective or we'll lose it. And then somebody will say, your Bible said that. My Bible didn't say that. It didn't say that. It ain't said nothing about nobody coming right here. Just like Moses and Elijah, that's like them coming back from the dead under this sun. Nope, can't. Not under this physical sun. It was a vision. They were knocked into a supernatural trance with the Messiah. He just told them, let me take y'all on a journey, let y'all see some things so y'all know this thing is real. How else was he going to prove it to them other than signs and wonders? Because the Pharisees weren't doing that. What they doing? Doubling up on tights and all of that, just dogging the people out. He had to come with a different mission, and the mission was, let me let you truly hear the Father's voice. What it's like in this other realm, the supernatural realm, so that you may believe. Let's read some more. Where we at?
You want to go to that 1 Corinthians 14?
Did we finish that Acts 26 and 13 where we want to go?
Acts 26.
Yeah, y'all, so we just pick right back up and Paul gonna explain it just a little bit better of what's happening. Then y'all, they would just hit these other scriptures concerning, you know, the power of the Most High. All throughout Job talk about the voice of the Lord. But we just got to understand what it means. Y'all, we got to get right into that 1 Corinthians. Just hit this real quick. I need to get in there.
Acts 26 and 13?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, and this was the same story. Y'all see, it's consistently. He's giving the same thing over and over again. It ain't changing with Paul. There's no language changing about what he's seen and heard. And not once have we heard the other men say, they like, look, what we heard, the boom, that's what we heard. He say he heard some other things. We didn't hear that. We heard the sound of the Lord's voice, but we didn't hear the instructions. That's as plain and simple as it gets, y'all. They just didn't hear the instructions. The instructions were for who? Paul. The prophecy was for Paul. He didn't tell Ananias and those two men that bring him, holler at them too.
Right.
Tell them quit being some followers. No, it wasn't none of that. The mission is for Paul. Go ahead. What else to say? 26:13.
Acts chapter 26, verse 13 says, At midday, O king, I saw the way of a light from heaven. I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me.
See, now he's explaining how bright it was. We hadn't heard how bright it was until he said brighter than the what?
The sun.
See, so we know this is supernatural outside the realm of natural. Brighter than the sun. Go ahead. And what time was it when he saw this?
Midday.
And that's when the sun is in its strength, ain't it? And it's brighter than the sun at this time. It's a reason it hit at noontime, so he wouldn't get mixed up and think this sun worship. No, we ain't talking about Ra, the sun god of Egypt.
Right.
Go ahead.
14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue.
What kind of tongue?
The Hebrew tongue. Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
See, and Paul spoke fluent Greek too. It could have said it to him in that, but the Most High just spoke to him in his own language. You know, because he knows his own language. We don't know our own language.
Right.
You talking about somebody around here speaking Hebrew, they ain't speaking Hebrew, they speaking slogans. A power, whatever they be saying. All praises to the Most High. Sleek all you're doing is you're giving slogans, but I'm talking about a conversation.
Right.
I'm talking about we watching the game and you're speaking in Hebrew what Mahomes is doing. What'd he say?
Right.
He's back in the pocket. He's looking deep. He's looking for Tadra Hill. He's like, he's got him. That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. He speak Hebrew there. But slogans? I can speak slogans. But to understand it, and what you're doing is you break down a word. That's all they doing is break down a word. But I'm talking about fluent Hebrew that where you're having a conversation. Not smooth soliloquies. Sleek, my bad. No disrespect to the Hebrew language, but what we're talking about is that don't supersede law or instructions of the Most High. Let's read some more.
This verse 15.
Be slick.
Yeah. To be what, bro?
To be slick.
Look, speaking in tongues count for Hebrew too.
Ooh, when he spoke in Hebrew,
Yeah.
he got to be anointed.
Boy, look here.
No, he just studied real hard.
No.
This is nice shoes on.
Yeah.
And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness, both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people, and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes.
To open their what?
To open their eyes, and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me.
See, and y'all can go on and read it. He's talking to King Agrippa, but just hit verse 27. This is a problem for all of the scattered Israelites were the Greeks or Gentiles too, and then I want to get right into that 1 Corinthians 14, but hit that 27 and 28. He's still talking to King Agrippa, descendant of King Herod, not an Israelite, but a Edomian. Yeah, Idumean, Edom, same tribe and nation. Yeah, go ahead. What did it say, brother? Verse
27.
Yeah.
King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets?
That's what he has at first. Believest thou the prophets? Go ahead.
I know that thou believest.
I know you believe. Go ahead.
Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian.
To be a what?
To be a Christian.
Not to be a listener of Christianity, but a Christian, a Christ follower.
Right.
Go ahead, read that next verse.
And Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am accept these bonds.
So he said, I wish you and everybody else, this is not an Israelite. Agrippa wasn't an Israelite.
Right.
And Agrippa said, you almost convincing me to be a Christ follower. He said, not only you, but everybody else in there. So was he telling a Gentile, you can be a Christ follower? And Agrippa said, you almost got me, partner. You almost got me with this road to Damascus. I'm hearing what you saying. I can get in there, but not as through the gates and equally down. We're not talking about that, because if you understand the promises and the covenant of Israel, it says the promises and the covenant and the giving of the law is to who? It says the promises can't go away. It cannot make the promises null and void or none effect. That ain't what he's saying. If you got a person and it's saying you got to have a servant, somebody got to be the servant.
Right.
And you don't want a wicked servant.
And you don't want a wicked servant. How you going to have Hitler? Yeah, what's in your mindset that you think you going to have Hitler as a servant? I told you. See, you full of BS. This Kool-Aid is 32 degrees. I told you I want to see icicles. And now get the whip, I'm beating your ass. How you think? That ain't what the kingdom going to be like.
Boy, you sound like somebody dead.
He is somebody.
He got pregnant. But you understand what I'm saying? They have the mindset that it's going to be castration, like we're going to be walking in the kingdom, it'd be a heathen hanging from a tree and the goods cut off.
Right.
Draws just bloody as hell, and we just looking up. Shows you that, she told you. Yeah, see, when we was marching to Selma, and see what your Billy Club got you? That ain't gonna happen. No, it tells you they'll be sold off to the Sabians. They'll deal with them. Just like we were sold off. They got to be sold off. They can't be around them parts. But they will be like Eleazar was to Abraham. Plain and simple. If you think you're gonna have that type of violence in a place that's where it says there's peace, what peace do you hear that somebody hollering out goods cut off?
Right.
No, y'all, that ain't in here.
Like they did George Washington.
Like they did, yeah. Come on, boy, you know what I'm talking about. So, y'all, I just wanted y'all to do that. So I want to get right to the 1 Corinthians 14, because this is very important, y'all. But I want y'all to understand Paul, when he go into visit, first before he did, just real quick, 2 Corinthians 12, 1 and 4, because he's going to tell you about when he fell in trance. I went outside of this body, y'all. This is what we call out-of-body experiences, y'all, but this has nothing to do with astral travel and all that lysergic acid diethylamine, LSD being taken. This ain't that type of trip that Paul went on, because those are bad trips. You may learn something, but the devil don't, what did it say, the devil come to do what?
Kill and destroy.
So that's why those who take those drugs and then invent things, y'all, they invent things that kill or destroy planet Earth. Albert Einstein was dumb as a stack of rocks, but his wife was a sorcerer. And he went in there, took some LSD and went out there, and then he created the atom bomb, split the atom. For the good or for the destruction of mankind?
Alexander Graham Bell said, I feel like talking to somebody that ain't even here.
Where we at?
You up? Shabbat shalom, brother.
Shabbat shalom.
Good seeing you, bro.
1 Corinthians, real quick, 2 Corinthians 12, then we'll jump back. Because so you understand what Paul experienced, and it's all, y'all, when you go. Now, what people don't understand, you could be wide awake and then the Most High hit you and you'll go into a trance sitting here and be gone. People be like this, man, why would you go? Oh, gone, boy. Gone. You just don't want it to be gone into nothing. See, that's why hypnotists do it. Relax. Empty your mind, clear your mind, then boom, you gone. Next thing they got you barking like a dog. And then when they clap you out of it, you're like, come on, man. Damn, I ain't got time for all this. Been sitting up here, they looking at you like, boy, you was finna get a collar and a tag.
Y'all was just talking about the movie Revenge of J.D. somebody.
J.D.'s Revenge.
Yeah, J.D.'s Revenge.
That's a good one.
I saw the class and then I watched that whole movie that night, and that's just what happened.
Yeah.
Hypnotized.
Hypnotized, y'all, because the first thing they say, empty your mind. All thoughts must leave. You can never do it, because David said, I meditate on the what? The law. So your mind is filled with the law. You just meditating on them scriptures. thou shalt not, you know, if I do this, what I got to do to get it right. I got to meditate on that. So when I go to sleep and a night vision come to me, I won't sin in my sleep. You can't rob banks and do whatever you want in your dream.
Right.
You'll do it when you wake up, bro. You didn't have practice. And when you have supernatural practice, go ahead, where we at?
2 Corinthians chapter 12, 1 through 4.
Yes, sir.
It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions.
Come to what?
Come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell. Or whether out of the body, I cannot tell.
Well, what is that but an out-of-body experience? He's like, look, I'm trapped in between. And when you look up trance, it say trapped between consciousness and unconsciousness. You're totally aware of what's going, but your mental is in another realm. You're out of this life. You're looking down, you can see what's going on at your body, but you're not dead. You're not dead. Dead means rigor mortis has set in. That's what dead is. Where we at?
Or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. God knoweth.
Who know it?
God knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven.
What heaven?
The third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. God knoweth. How that he was caught up into paradise.
Into what?
Into paradise.
See, it's the same language, y'all, from the Old Testament. Paradise is the third level of heaven. It's in the Testament of Levi, 2nd chapter. We see it right here, Paul talking about it. It's all throughout the scripture. The thief on the cross said, the Messiah said, you be in paradise with me this day. There's a third level of heaven, y'all, that hold righteous souls. And on the other side, there's a gulf there between. And on the other side is the most wicked people on earth that's over there in torments. They're not in the lake of fire. They're just in torments. It's rough. They can't rest. They try to sleep, but they back up. It's like, you know how it be when you ain't got no sleep all night. And then you get your best sleep 15 minutes before the alarm go off. That's where they at. All the time, non-stop. And then on this other side, there's rest and they're sweet. But they sleep. They ain't up just ice skating around. They're put to rest. That's what rest is. Free from the labors and trauma of this world. That's taking place in that realm on the third level of heaven. That's where you see Enoch went. And then I went to the third level. And this what I saw. Fruit trees on this side. And then I saw the torments on this side. It's consistency.
Right.
When you hear somebody come in talking about I've been astroplaning and I saw myself and then I saw the King's Highway and the 41 Lee River roads collided. You like, oh, come on. But I'm talking about people want to hear and they sit like this. Then what happened?
Right.
Then what happened?
Right.
And then the cosmic came over me and I was in a suit of melanin and I dove back down into the river and you sitting up there and you like,
Negro, please.
but I'm talking about these people sitting there swallowing want to bleed. And then what happened? What you got, bro?
Imam said third heaven.
Third level.
Is where Abraham's bosom is.
That's where it's at.
Right.
Abraham's bosom, Luke 16 chapter 2. It's consistent talk, y'all. I'm not talking about the prophets don't switch game. That's how you know when they hear the voice of the Lord. When you hear somebody quoting this scripture and they have a different astro travel, they're on the wrong plane, y'all. Look, they ain't even on Southwest or Frontier. They on the cheapest flight going.
Right.
Cause they don't tell them what they got in their chemicals, man. Put some Drano in a pipe and smoked it. There they go.
Yeah.
Gone.
And see what I just got from what he just said is that true understanding of what we've been taught and what we just read.
Yes, sir.
We were all indoctrinated and taught with Christianity that the people that's bad, they down underneath the ground in hell.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I was a child, that saying that when the sun is shining and you hear thunder during the day, the devil beating his wife.
Yeah.
I can remember being little.
Right.
being outside playing, the sun's shining, all of a sudden you hear thunder, and I look down
Man,
the
she done
sidewalk.
messed up again, ain't
Woo.
she?
I'm waiting to hear her crying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what we think and been taught. But just to hear him say that the wicked are in paradise too, on the third level.
Yes, sir.
So they up on the third level. They're totally opposite of where we always thought they was. And
Right.
They're in paradise, but it's a bad side
Because,
paradise.
right, you know, and when you say,
outside of that
well,
thing.
when you say it's cold as hell out here, and somebody say, no, you got that mixed up, it's hot. It ain't hot in hell. Hell is the grave. The graves are cold.
6 feet under.
That's cold. And when you die, you what? Ain't no more heat in you, is you?
No.
Then there's something called hell fire. It says death and hell were cast into where?
The lake of fire.
That's a whole different, that's the greater damnation, ain't it?
Yeah.
You go straight from torments to the lake of fire. You thought it was hot.
Oh, gee. That was the warm up.
No, this African hot.
Yeah.
Times 10.
Verse
1
4.
Corinthians, you got verse 4. Go ahead.
How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to utter.
See, because usually you don't get to come back and spew this unless the Most High keeps you with him. But then you go on to read on and say Paul wouldn't get beside himself and make himself the big muckety muck. He said the Most High gave me a buffet for Satan to buffet me in my side for 3 times. So even if I start to try to say, what y'all talking about? I've been to the 3rd level and I'm back here to talk about, what you niggas talking about? No, he would get a jab in his side every time he tried to glory off. This ain't for your glory.
Right.
The road to Damascus had nothing to do with you. But what I need you to do. Where we at? 1 Corinthians 14. Let's get this real quick, y'all. And I just want to hit this Joseph. We got good time. About 47 minutes. And we're going to be out of here. Anybody got any questions or concerns? Too bad. You got another question? Sis? Go ahead. Ask your question since you in Bible class.
I want to know when do you know you truly like get an understanding? I know you, like y'all was just talking about, we hear all this when we little, your parents teach you one way, and then you get old and you start trying to read and get your own understanding. How you know the difference? How you know, like,
Right, that is the true understanding.
Yeah.
See, when your spirit is searching, it's seeking for the voice of the Lord. Because it's automatic, it's like a car made at a factory. The manual that come with it. It don't go outside of that. So your soul, like when you start looking for what's wrong with my car, you look to that manual. So in like manner, you have to understand the law. But first, you have to be fully persuaded yourself. And what's going to happen is during your search, you're going to start eliminating the doctrines that don't line up. You're like, my soul don't feel that. I don't feel that. And then when you hear the power of the word, when you hear the Most High voice, all of us heard something different. I was told to look at Revelations chapter 1. And then I got, some Jeremiah. And then I looked at that and the light popped on in. Because I had just been to the Kiel Auditorium, because Farrakhan and Al Sharpton, Al Giblets and Gravy, they was on the same tour. I'm like, wait a minute, how you got a Christian and a Muslim on the same tour? But I say, well, let me just go because both of them are on my mind. Which one do I stay with? I'm in between, I'm searching. And I went down there and Al Sharpton opened up. And all he was doing was rhyming, not one scripture.
Probably didn't have a Bible.
Didn't have a Bible. And then what he did is he got the crowd in a frenzy, and that's when the crack epidemic was hitting. He said, see, they got our young folks hooked on crack, and our old folks hooked on crackers. You came all this way to say the young folks hooked on crack and the old folks hooked on old white crackers.
Right.
So we got this where our problem lie. And he went on dancing and shuffling, and then here come Farrakhan, they introduce him. And he's talking nonsense and grabbed that money out of my hand. And I was sitting back, I say, my soul said, this ain't it. And then just hollering at Brother Moses, who liked to quote scriptures all the time. He would talk Bible talking. You can't, boy, you know them scriptures. Nope, but I know somebody that do. Hold on. I got a brother want to know some things. Okay, we on our way. And then Jake just asked me 2 questions. Who you think you are and where you think you came from? Well, shit, a booty scratcher, Africa. What you mean? African booty scratcher, that's where we come from, ain't it?
Right.
That's what we was told.
That's what we was told.
Right.
Now, I want you to read these scriptures. He didn't read them for me. He told me to read them. And that light turned on like that. Bing! And I say, that's it. And that's how you're going to know it's it, because he's going to come to you when your soul seeks him. If your soul ain't seeking him, if it's just seeking a quick fix, you ain't going to find him. There's too many other distractions out there. Your soul gonna know it soon as it's the word said. It's not a study pattern. When the soul hits, then the study pattern comes, because the soul has to believe, and then it gets on the path of understanding. Because you can't go opposite, you will turn away from this good glory. If you read it first and don't understand it, you're like, well, I read the Bible, it ain't all that. But when that truth hits you and that light turn on, then the whole book illuminates. So sis, that's basically where it's at, where you're searching, where you're trying to say, I need him to talk to me. And the first thing it says is the only way he talk to you is through prayer. So follow the instructions, go in your closet and ask him, just like you talking to a real human being. He's your father, just like that. Dad, I need you to speak to me, say something to me. Talk to me. I'm your child. You have to think of it in that matter. And when he unlock you, he say, I hear you calling for me. You asking for your daddy, ain't you? What father gonna turn away from his child hollering for him? I need your help, and walk away.
Give you a stone.
Give you a stone, absolutely. So sis, when you gonna know. It has happened for everybody in here. It's just when that light click up. Hell, Larry, I had been around for a couple years when he first heard. He like, wait a minute.
Right. It took me 5 years.
Page and Taylor, a church, and I got this old school sitting on dubs.
These niggas looking like
he couldn't concentrate in there. He was like this. He like, it's gonna be on blocks.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be on blocks when I get out of here. These niggas ain't looking right. Ain't nobody got on church clothes or nothing.
Gold teeth and
right.
I'm like, oh no, bro. I had an 87 Cadillac, 4-door. That joint was on 100-spoke trues and 12s in the back, Alpine in the dash. I couldn't think about no.
He like, they holding us in here. Don't no Bible class that long. He giving them stripping time. The dashboard ain't gonna even be in there.
But sis, when you go to the Most High, you go to him with all conviction.
Yes, sir.
And know that all your prayers he can answer.
Yeah.
Don't go to him and be like, well, Father, maybe if
you got your schedule ain't busy.
Right, if you can fit me in.
Yeah, no, none of that. You have to be, you can't ask amiss.
Right.
And that means half asking, like, well, I know you be busy and you can't do it. You have to ask, I need your help, and I need your help now.
Knowing that he can
I
do
need
it.
to know there's too many strange doctrines out here.
Exactly.
But you're gonna see it in here.
Right.
You ain't gonna hear it outside of here.
No.
That's not his voice. He said anything else is a thief and a robber. Anybody take you outside of here and say, well, the Bible says the same thing, make them show it to you inside of here.
And see, the scriptures are going to reveal themselves to you as you start to study. When you get that understanding, though, and you start to study, everything, like the question you ask, how do we know the difference? They're going to drop off. They're going to drop off. You're going to see it just like Jeremiah chapter 10, 1-5, when you read about that tree that's decked with silver and gold. And you're like, wait a minute, that's a Christmas tree.
Right.
And the Lord say, don't do what the heathen do right up front. Right. It starts out telling you, don't do what these other people are doing. And then when you see that this is a Christmas tree that they're doing, and he already said, don't do it.
Right. But you say, but they having so much fun. What's wrong with giving gifts like that? You doing it with bill money. That's what's wrong with it. Them lights you got strung up, now the lights on the inside ain't gonna work. You just spend up all the money on the lights outside. Y'all, let's finish this up. I don't want to get too far behind because I want to hit that real quick. We're in good time before 5. So let's get it good. 1 Corinthians 14, y'all. And this is what I want y'all to understand, because it's about spiritual gifts and it's about tongues. And this is the main thing, y'all, because this is where the conversation is in Acts 9 and 22. It's about the conversation, right? How do we hear the voice of the Lord? How did they not hear what the Messiah was telling Saul? That's what we got to understand. How did they not hear? It wasn't for them to hear. They said we heard the sound, but we didn't see no voice. And then the other one said, well, we did hear the voice, but we saw no man. What did you hear? If they'd have heard what he told Saul, it would have been for them like he called the three up to the high mountain. Peter, James, and John, y'all come up here and see this. What was the other 9 disciples? He said, don't tell them nothing till you see me resurrected. I don't want y'all to even say what y'all saw until you see me resurrected. So do not reveal this until after the crucifixion. Straight orders. Do not tell nobody. I don't want them, you thinking you jumped the gun or this no kind of trick. I want y'all to be convinced first. And when you see it, then tell them the vision. Where we at? 1 Corinthians 14 and 1.
Work me? 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1. Follow after charity.
Follow after what?
Charity.
1 Corinthians 13 will tell you what charity is. Go ahead.
And desire spiritual gifts.
And do what?
And desire spiritual gifts. But rather that ye may prophesy.
But rather that you may do what?
Prophesy.
So what's chief here in the book of tongues?
Prophecy.
What's the very first verse? Now verse 2.
For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto me.
Speaketh not unto who?
Unto men. But unto Yahweh. For no man understandeth him. Howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mystery.
So this is what was happening to Paul. He was speaking in mystery, so they heard him, but they say, we don't know what he was talking about. We don't know what was said to him when he came out. He was a different individual when we came like that. We heard, but we don't know what was said. Paul went through eloquent and tell you step by step, y'all, look, this is what happened. I got through it. You start to see words then, and the next one, a trance. Oh, okay. He was in a trance. Okay, then you hear the next one. Okay, so he's building it up as he go along. The doctrine ain't changed. You just got with somebody that's nitpicked you right there. Say, see right there what that say? Now go over there and turn to that chapter right there. See, that's why I don't trust Paul. See, that's why, but they have no understanding. And that turns you from the Bible. You should say, wait a minute. Let me study this. I'll get back to you in a couple days. But if pride lets you say and you start fighting, well, what about Acts 2 and 5 then? And then you just start going back and forth. You have to answer what has you stumped right then, or just say time out. What phone is that?
I'm reading that. Okay. Stop.
I think that's sister phone. But you know, and once you understand from that perspective, then things will start to click in. But say desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. Why is prophecy number 1? Because it tells of the second coming. It is a chief spirit to desire. See, so when the guy's not saying this, when he took that Israelite right to, that conscious Israelite, I should say, right to verse 2, he should have backed him up in verse 1. Because the end of 14, when we get it, gonna be verse 1 again. So it's telling you the subject matter at the beginning and the end is about prophecy, even when you speak in a strange tongue. Because it's about edification. How you speaking in Hebrew and don't nobody know what you saying? It goes for that language too. Yahweh hold on. Yahweh Hamashiach. Yahamashiach. Bahashem. What does that mean? Look, you still got to explain it in English, don't you?
You double talk.
If I ask you what you got to do, you got to tell me what it means.
You got to be your own interpreter.
You can't be like, see that? Look, see, this thing ain't for everybody. See, there's some blockage in your head. See, that's why I was called to interpret it for you. There's a piece of stone there that I have to be your advisor.
Joe Rockhead.
Boy, look here.
Hey, but real quick though, what he had said though, what the people looking at Paul, we've all had that experience of people looking at us and saying, you ain't that same cat no more, and they leave you alone. Right. Because when you come around, man, I don't want to talk about the Bible. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that no more. And they leave you alone. Instead of coming and becoming like you and learning and saying, hey man, your whole life has changed. And I see that change on you. I want to know more about it. But they say, no. And so how could two walk together lest they be agreed? They drop off. Yeah. You the one stay consistent. So just like Paul changed and people saw that change in Paul and Paul had to prove it though, we all supposed to have that same experience like a Paul, that we know we got that baptism by fire from the Messiah. But the people around us, they see that. And they either gonna come on in with you or they gonna leave you alone.
That's right. 1 Corinthians 14:1. No, we had 3.
I'm on 3.
Okay.
But he that prophesies, speaking unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort.
See, if they would have just told him to back it up and read 3 verses down, he would have been stunned. Because it's prophecy is trumping tongues here, right? Except he do what?
Prophecy.
Edify.
That's what they edify.
That means to break it off to, have y'all ever had, anybody y'all know spoken tongues, have they ever edified y'all what was said? No. Because it's got to be prophecy. That's what verse 1 say. Follow after spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. That's what it wants you to do. You seeking gifts. How does the Pentecostal say if you don't speak in tongues, you can't be saved? What did this say? The book of tongues. So who we gonna listen to? Let's read some more.
Verse 4. He that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifieth himself.
Who he edified?
Himself. But he that prophesied edifieth the church.
See, y'all, we into edifying the church. Because that's what he told us to go do. Go ahead, what else to say?
I would that ye all spake with tongues, but rather that ye prophesied.
And this is a problem here, ain't it? For Pentecostal church, ain't it? I would rather that y'all all speak with tongues, but rather that you prophesy. Tell somebody about Christ coming back. If you speaking in tongues, get the interpreter and tell us in that tongue you just said it in. What else to say?
I would that ye all spake with tongues, but rather that ye prophesied. For greater is he that prophesied than he that speaketh with tongues.
Great is he that do what?
Prophesied than he that speaketh with tongues.
So which one to get you saved if it's about the saved category? Which one to get you saved?
Prophesy.
It's just about the book of tongues though, ain't it? That's a problem if you don't understand the instructions or the law like it say. Paul say the vision was from the law. What else he got?
Except he interpret that the church may receive edify.
So it says it again, unless you speaking in tongues and edify the church what you saying, ain't no need you going off into a different language. Speak English what everybody speak. Other than we gonna be flipped around here. You trying to make me think you some great one. Go ahead with them smooth soliloquies. I want to watch the game with you. Go ahead.
Now, brethren, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, except I shall speak to you either by revelation, or by knowledge, or by prophesying, or by doctrine?
Them the rules for speaking in tongues. The only reason they say I'm gonna give it to you, it has to be for these reasons. Why else would I do it? You think just saying coming in 100 and that's it? What reward is that for the rest of the church? She spoke in tongues last week. He spoke in tongues last week. And then that was it. They got to sit on the front row.
Right, yeah.
Hey, you speak in tongues, you sit on the front row.
They got their ties
Boy, look here.
Too much.
Go ahead.
Change that to 1 Corinthians, would you please?
Yeah,
Thanks, I
she's been on
appreciate
about
it.
that for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, they've been on you.
Well, you in
about
a
it.
trance out there?
Yeah,
You in a trance out there. Go ahead, what we had?
And even things, verse 7, and even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sound. How shall it be known what is piped or harp?
How you know the difference between a trumpet and a flute? That'd be the difference in knowing Miles Davis and Kenny G. Kenny G play a flute, right? Miles Davis do what? Trumpet. Which one gonna play at the Cardinal game? Huh?
Yeah, that's about
And the flute too, he do all of the fluty noise. Yeah, that's that little small when he had like that, you'll see him with them flowing locks. But the bottom line is what it's saying, if you don't know what's piped or harp, if you don't know the sound, if you think a guitar is a piano, that's a problem.
Right.
They're two different instruments.
Yep.
Unless you know what's piped or harp. Look, if you at the game and they say da-dun, 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 you say what?
Sure.
Flute. Flu, 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 flu. What everybody gonna say?
What is that?
What? Wait a minute. Flu, 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 flu. The team gonna be looking? No, there ain't gonna be no stomping like that Major League movie, you know, when he was pointing to the, I'm gonna hit the ball up there. Wasn't none of that. Let's get some more, y'all.
Verse 8.
What it say?
For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself for the battle? To the battle. So likewise ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the earth.
Where you speaking to?
Into the earth. There are, it may be, so many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without signification.
Meaning, all languages have a meaning of what they're talking about. We just got to get careful that we don't get caught up in devil talk, devil language, and spread it. There's all kinds, there's demon, when it's called demon doctrine, then it has a language with it. It has you chanting the language. You don't know what language that is. It just say this, if you say abracadabra 100 times, it's gonna do something. Along with the other instructions of the demon. It's the only word that you can write in a triangle this way and it fill in all the blanks like this, but it's a triangle. Abracadabra, ABC, it'll do it perfectly. All the way down. Why do you think they say that? Do you know what abracadabra means? Anybody out there? Ain't we done hollered it before? You think it means it's supposed to disappear when they do that. Wait a minute. Disconnection notice. Abracadabra. Disconnection notice. Damn, disconnection notice. Let me get in the script. Thou shalt go to work 6 days. And that disconnection note shall leave. Look, that's what's gonna happen. But you ain't gonna get no free ride. Not in this. It ain't set up for that, y'all. Let's read some more. Go ahead. Where we at?
Over sacrifice.
Yeah.
Verse 11. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, and he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me.
So we're gonna skip down to the last verse. Y'all read everything in between.
The last verse?
Yeah, because it tells you it must be an interpreter there, and it also tells men to keep silent in the church. It says if he, male, speaking in unknown tongue and there ain't no interpreter, it say let him keep silent in the where?
In the church.
In the church. So it ain't just for women to keep silent in the church. If there ain't no interpreter, he got to shut up in the church. So it don't mean women just have to be silent. Say according to the rules, there's time when you can speak and when you cannot speak. You can't usurp authority. You can't override what's going on in the congregation or the study. You have to keep it where a woman's supposed to keep it, and a man is the same way. And you just can't be rattling off nothing in the synagogue and the assembly and don't nobody know what the hell you saying. You just rattling off some Hebrew and people flocked around you. We like, what'd he say?
What script is that, Daniel? And it says, I'd rather speak 5 words with understanding.
Right here, same one we in right now.
I was looking for it.
We just passed it up, didn't we?
You skipped it or something?
We ain't got to it yet?
Yeah, no, we must not, because I'm sure like...
Well, I think we passed it up. We passed that up. That was way...
If you start up at 28.
Yeah.
And then,
we passed that up, you said?
Right.
19?
Yeah.
I sure missed it. I must have been thinking about something else.
Yes,
I must have been in the train.
Boy, look, it's Trance Day today. Let's get it. Where we at?
Actually, we did read 40. You want to go down to 40, right?
No, yeah, I want to skip down to the last verse.
All right. Let all things be done decently and in order.
No, okay, let's back it up. Back it up to 33. No, I was hitting at something, because it was actually 39.
Yeah.
But I want to just back it up to 33 and come on down.
Okay. Verse 33. For Yahweh is not the author of confusion.
He's not the author of confusion. He don't write confusion. He's not going to give you Acts 9 and then Acts 22. That would be confusion if you don't understand what it means, right? But he said, if you study my word, I'll give you all the answer. I'll reveal the mysteries to you. Go ahead.
Let all things be done, for Yahweh is not the author of confusion, but of peace.
But of what?
But of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
Right.
Let your women keep silence in the church.
Let them do what?
Keep silence in the church. For it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also says the law.
See, what do we get back? Obedience according to what?
The law.
See, the law tells a woman you can't usurp authority over me. That's what it's telling them. Check yourself before you wreck yourself in the assembly. There's a law to teach you how to speak in the church. It didn't say it say silence according to the law. Know when to be spoken. If that was the case, you can't have Aquila and Priscilla. It say they showed Apollos a better way, didn't it? You got Mary speaking. You got Romans 16, but they know when to say what they're saying. Just like
Guarding your grill.
Guarding your grill. Look, Miriam was a prophetess. She said, "Have the Lord spoken only by you?"
Right.
But she spoke out of turn because she spoke against Moses. She wanted to leapfrog. She wanted to say, as he used a woman like he used a man, he will, but not for this mission. I can't send you to Pharaoh. I got to send a man to Pharaoh so he understand this. You got the wrong fat mouthing about this.
You're not Wonder Woman.
And look, and because she was so mad about it, she brought in him married to an Ethiopian woman to change the subject. Yeah, to marry that old, you ain't too much of a prophet. You didn't know you wasn't supposed to marry nobody outside of Israel. Who is this Ethiopian woman you done brought up here? Look at her. Nigga got talking all this stuff. They got this Ethiopian woman up in here. Talking all this. Ain't Deuteronomy 7:6, is it? Is it her? No, it ain't Mary.
Okay,
Lord called them two out. Y'all come out here. How dare y'all say what you say, especially you, Miriam? Okay, so you like the fat mouth. Let's put some fat mouth on you. Turned into a leper, but I'm not gonna do it for you forever, just for 7 days. And we ain't gonna leave. We ain't gonna leave you back here. When them 7 days up, you gonna learn your lesson. And we heard no more from Miriam, have we? Not about that happening. But like I say, when you get into this 14 Corinthians, when you see if he's speaking an unknown tongue, or let him keep silence. See, that's what I'm saying. When you read a little bit more, I tell you what, but for the believe the whole church, but verse 27. Give me 27 real quick before you that. That same Corinthians 14.
Sure you don't want to give Ariel 19?
19. No, he got 19. I want 27. And then we're going to read down to the end. Then I'm going to get right into this last one because we got a good half hour, y'all.
Verse
25 minutes. Go ahead.
If any man speaketh in an unknown tongue.
If any what?
Man speaketh in an unknown tongue.
That didn't say if any woman did it. What that say? Any what?
Any man.
Go ahead.
Let it be by 2, or at most by 3. That by course, and let one interpret.
Right.
But if there be no interpreter, let him keep silence in the church.
No, let him keep on talking in the
Let
world.
him shut up in the church.
Okay, that's good enough for me. Go ahead.
And let him speak to himself and to your house.
See, those are instructions for a man in the same assembly. You got to shut up when you ain't following instructions. Shut the hell up. Just like it tell a woman, look, there's a place. You can't leapfrog the man in the assembly. It is not going to work out right.
Right.
We ain't never said you couldn't speak. We just said there's order.
Decency and order.
Decency and order. Y'all, that's all the script is saying, but when people pinpoint right there, there it is. There it is, 2 Corinthians right there. Didn't I say a woman ain't supposed to be in church? And they holler more Hebrew than the law allowed.
Right.
And ain't no interpreter.
Right.
What'd he say? Let me get strong, see. Right there, I said, Aka, meaning to fly in a nest. Aka. What the hell has that got to do with what we talking about? Let him keep silent in the church.
Right.
Where we at, y'all? Finish that 33 through 40.
Oh, 34.
Yeah.
Let your women keep silence in the church, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also says the law.
So if anybody showed this to a woman and you ain't went and studied yet what the obedience of the law for how you can speak in the church, then you should be prepared to take them to Priscilla and Aquila. You should be able to take them to the churches in the women houses, because that's where the first churches were, and people houses. Then Martha and Mary, when they talk to the disciples, say, tell her to shut up. He like, look, leave her alone.
Right.
Hell you mean? Y'all been sitting up here fatting on about nothing. She been wiping my feet with her hair since I walked through the door. What you mean tell her to shut up? Where we at?
Verse 35. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husband at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church.
So, and what we're talking about is that you have to be careful of what we're doing. Like, for instance, like since you asked Judah there, I saw you with me, and can you ask a question? Look, if the husband give permission, because that's the rank in the church, the man is the head of the woman. If he say, go ahead, speak, babe. Look, because if there's no head here, it says her hair is given to her as a covering. What does that mean? In that same 1 Corinthians 11, for her hair is given to her as a covering. What does that mean? But it says also, so you understand the language. Let her ask him at home. You don't want her asking a question that may go against what he's thought or saying. Then it puts him on the spot. That's what he said. It got to be peace. Y'all, it ain't nothing but about peace. Cause you know you'll have an argument at home and then like we're gonna settle this at class. He don't know. He ain't got a clue. If a man want to bring all that stuff in here talking about he's sexy and he, and then you be like, what? Right. Wait a minute. Let's go to the scripture on that. And then she look her way. You can't wear that man thong no more. You what? See, we didn't have down here. Look, we didn't have it down here where it's lashed out because there was no order. And the order is if a man is with his wife and she has a question to say, all he has to do is say, go ahead, baby, you can speak. I got it. She doesn't understand. She can learn this here. There has been, that's why we talk about Numbers 30, y'all. You have to understand the covenant of that in Numbers 30. Vows and different things. She may ask a question that's vow when he has the power to say yea or nay. That's on a vow. But prayer, she can pray on her own. He don't know what I pray. He can't stop her prayers. But a vow, when she tie her soul to the Lord, she can pray, Lord, deliver them. Lord, have mercy on them. But when you vow a vow to your soul, that's different from prayer. You can't stop a woman's prayer, but you can, because he tell you to go in the closet. He didn't say go in there with your husband. Y'all got two different mentals going on. You have to pray for your soul. He say in Job 14:4-20, he say, know that you can't save nobody. Everybody got to sit on their own toes. Job, you can't do it for your sons, your daughters, nobody. Everybody must sit on their own foundation. With fear and trembling. So we've always had that practice down here. If she say, if there's no husband, if she wants to speak, she has to have her hair covered. If she's with her husband is her covering, so do she have to cover up? It's a lot, it's way deeper than just control. When you study 1 Corinthians 11, there's a lot of language and understanding in there. Well, what does that mean then?
Because you mentioned this last week, and a sister in the chat asked why was it on the women? Well, he just said it right there, but to explain it, if she's listening today, it's the order of things.
Yeah, that's all we're talking about.
It's the Most High, the Son, man, woman, and children.
That's how it starts out.
Right. So she asked, why is that on the woman, where the man has that power to disallow her prayers and her vows? It's because that's the order. You know, women a lot go off of emotions and things like that, and they'll say stuff that they really don't mean. Right. But the Lord is like, you, because that's why we're going to give an accountance to every word we utter out of our mouth.
That's right.
So if a man hears his woman say something and he know it's not right, he has the power to disallow what she said.
Yeah.
You know, so
a vow that binds her soul. It's a different than a prayer. We're talking about binding your soul because it's so powerful that if her husband died and she went and got a new husband, guess what followed her into that new deal? That vow that bound her soul. Because when you bound your soul, that's a vow for life no matter what happens. death, you get married to somebody, it cannot go away, the vow that you made to the Lord. You have to tell the new husband, I made a vow with my last one, with the Most High. So for you, you know, for me to be your wife, this has to come into the fold. This ain't got nothing to do with my other husband. This is a vow I made to the Lord that my soul is bound by. Yes, your soul tie can only be to the Lord. You can't drag nobody else from the old relationship into the new one.
No.
Because the law say that. If he don't find no peace in her, he can give her a bill of divorce and she can go be another man's what? Wife. If that wasn't the case, then all this talk about, see, it's going to be less than if she marries somebody. All that's tomfoolery when the scriptures say she can go and be another what? Man's wife.
Right.
That means all that other stuff is null and void. All that trickery and you ain't gonna be no good. What's the number? Ain't no number more than one that a man will be satisfied. How many men you done had in your life? Two! Who raised you? Boy, look at this. Right, real quick. 2 Corinthians 2, y'all. 2 Timothy 2 real quick, because there's a fix for the church, so understand it, because most people ask why can't they speak in the churches, because what happened in the Garden of Eden. That talk process, this don't go back to Negroes just ruling. You got to understand what happened. Just hit 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12. Real quick, y'all, we're going to jump right back on this and we'll close out. I want to get right on this Joseph real quick while we got 15 minutes.
2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12.
Is that what it say? Let me see. Hold on. 2 Timothy chapter, give me, 2 Timothy, that's it.
Well, you sound like an auctioneer.
2 Timothy chapter 2 verse, hold on. That's it? That's what I want there? Yeah, go ahead. Hold on, no, that ain't it. Verse 12. Go ahead. Let me see if that's it. I'm going back to 110. Chapter 2 verse 12. No, it ain't there. It's 110. 110 chapter 2 verse 12. I said 2 Timothy. Yeah, I was in 2 Timothy. Go ahead, y'all. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12.
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over the man, but to be silent.
See, this is where he explained why you can't speak in 1 Corinthians. He's going to explain this is the reason why it has nothing to do with what he just told you. Shut up and don't say a word. I'll tell you about it when we get home. Ain't that what the scriptures say? But this explains why it's that reason. Go ahead, read some up.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve.
You see the order of things. This is what it's saying. Adam was first formed, so he was supposed to be the one that spoke out to the devil. I gave him the instructions first. Go ahead.
But the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
What was the woman?
Oh, I didn't read that first part, 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
So she was in the initial sin. It said Adam was not, he wasn't right there. So that tell you, even though it sounds like, and then she gave Adam to eat like he was standing right next to her, they were there, but they wasn't in the same space. Adam had them wandered off. Go ahead, where we at?
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
Why would she be saved in childbearing unless this going back to the garden where she got pain and menstrual cycle and all of that relating to childbirth? It says she shall be saved from that punishment back then. What else it say?
If they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Holiness with sobriety, but it said they continue in it as husband and wife together. That's going to be lifted. If you stay grounded and understand, it will be lifted. It'd be no pain during that time. It'd be just pluka when a baby's born. Pluka, the baby's born. No hollering, no epidural.
Right.
No punishment of what happened in the garden will happen now if they study together. But you can't have nobody come up to that level when you're beating them down all the time. They will never get to that level.
No.
Because they don't know how to be into holiness and sobriety. Let's pick this real quick, y'all. I just wanted to explain some, y'all, and then we're going to close on out. We got 15 minutes. Y'all, what we're talking about, vision, a dream. Joseph was in a vision and a trance, but it's something very important in the book of Jasher. It said Joseph ran to his mother's grave. Now, this is what I just want to explain real quick, and we'll just read just a little bit of Jasher 42, but I'm going to explain some things as homework. Y'all go and study it on your own. But while we're in this last minute, we're going to read Jasher 42. We're going to the book of Jasher. But what I want y'all to read is Genesis 37 and 19. That's going to talk about, you going, bro? Yeah. Shalom, bro. It's talking about Joseph's dream that he had. It's something very important in here for y'all to understand. The dream that he had, when he had the dream about his brothers, he said, all right, bro, the sun and the moon and the 12 stars bow down to me, right? The problem is, when they found out what the vision meant, it means his father and his mother, right? And, well, 11 stars, I should say. He said they bowed down to me. So Jacob knew what the dream meant immediately in 37 and 1. He said, I love Joseph because he dreamed and he was the son of my old age. Then I knew the Lord was with him because I knew he could interpret dreams. So Jacob understood the vision to mean me, my wife, and the other 11 brothers gonna bow to you. And he like, wait a minute, this got to be something the Lord is working. So he took it under advisement in his heart, right? You know what the problem with this is? Both of Jacob's wives and his mother was dead. Both Rachel and Leah was dead. So how is he having a vision about his mother bowing down to him and both of Jacob's wives are dead at the time? Why? Real quick, give me a Genesis 35. Give me 16 through 20 real quick, and then just 37 and 19, we're gonna read that, and then we're gonna jump into Jasher, we're gonna close out. But what I'm gonna give y'all some scripture, y'all gonna see that Rachel and Leah died. So who would be the wife that's bowing down? And then when we get to the book of Jubilees, you see that where did Jacob plant his tent after Rachel and Leah had died? Who house he go into? No, not Jacob. No, you talking about Isaac. We talking about Jacob. When his two wives died, he pitched his tent where? In Bilhah's tent. So when he was saying my mother and my father, even though it's his stepmother, it was actually speaking of Bilhah. Because it could be speaking of the other two. They were dead before he got the dream. Give me Genesis 35 real quick, y'all, so we get some understanding. 35, 16 through 20. Read that for me real quick. And then, y'all, we're going to hit that Sirach 42. We're going to close on out, y'all. We got about 8 minutes and some seconds.
The book of Genesis.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 35 and verse 16.
What it say?
And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephraim. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. Now,
hard labor came in the garden. That's what we just read about, right? And because of the sin that happened in the garden, hard labor. That was her punishments in Genesis 3:16. Pain during childbirth and a menstrual cycle. This is what you got to get for that behavior. So what really went on in the garden? He didn't say if they ate a physical fruit, you know what I'm saying? He would have said no molars and no front choppers. Thou shalt have the vampire look. No, it wasn't none of that. And what parts did they cover up?
Right.
He didn't make an apron for the mouth, and thou shalt have the look of Jesse James. So what kind of eating was going on for real? But y'all, we see here that she travailed in birth, which was the punishment from Genesis 3:16. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing.
What was her soul?
In departing. For she died.
What did she do?
She died. That she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day.
Now, Jacob did the same thing he did here when he marked the pillar when the angels came up and down, didn't it? Is this a hard rock? Is this? It say that's sepulchre with us still to this day. So if it's a carbuncle or some kind of top-notch crystal or whatever. It's the same language. He's doing the same event. But when you see what it was, it's a grave marker, just like the other one was a marker for life that he set a pillar right there. This where Rachel died at. So when we come back here, this is spot where Rachel died at. Where we at? You read verse 20? Yeah. That was good. Now let's get right back to 37 and 1. 37 and 19. I just want to read that real quick and then we jump into Jasher 42. We'll close out, y'all.
Same Genesis?
Yeah.
Book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 19. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh.
What they talking about Joseph, right? And see, and this is how many chapters after Rachel died. See, that was 35. Where we at? 30 what? 37. So 2 chapters ago, Rachel died. And they say, here come this dreamer. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands.
So, and you want to know about the dream, you start at verse 1 through 8, and you'll see the dream that he had. Behold, we were buying a sheaf, and lo, my sheaf rose up and stood aright. Behold, your sheaves round about and made obedience to my sheaf. And then he went on verse 9 and tell about the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. Well, Rachel is dead. That's his mama. So who's his mama in the vision? But we know what happened in Egypt when all of them came and he was sitting as Pharaoh. All of them had to bow to him and respect him as king. And who was the woman that bowed to him that was in position of his mother? But Bilhah, because the scriptures say that's why Reuben snuck in and slept with Bilhah, got her drunk. He was mad that his father didn't pitch his tent in Leah's tent at first before she died. But I want y'all to write these down real quick so y'all know. Jasher 41 and 2. You'll see that Leah died. I believe she's about 56. And then Jasher 36 and 10, it'll tell you how old Rachel was when she died. But now we're into 42 of this Jasher, and he's having this vision. So y'all, you see how when it says your mother, she's not a concubine for Jacob. She's his mother. That don't mean nothing because your daddy got a wife the same age as you. That's your mama still. You have to look at her as a mother. He that uncovered the nakedness of his father has done what? Slept with his wife, ain't it? That's what the scriptures say. He's a MFer. A mother for unlawful carnal knowledge. That's what F-U-C-K means, for unlawful carnal knowledge. Knowledge meaning sexual intercourse. You got a mother for unlawful carnal knowledger. That's the curse word. Curse be the man that lieth with his father's wife. That's cause it's called a curse word. And we use it and don't even know why. You black mother. You's a bad mother. You ugly mother.
Right.
But it's a curse word. A curse has been pronounced on you about a behavior. And we got it tied to like it makes you shut your mouth. You are bad. No, I don't want to be bad like that.
Right.
I don't want to be a bad MFer. How you gonna show up at the judgment day like that? Lord, you ain't heard my jacket? I'm a bad, wait a minute. Shut your mouth. Before you go to the left, let us finish this judgment.
Be on the left side.
It'll be trouble. Where we at? Jasher 42, or did we finish that 19?
Yeah.
We finished that Genesis 37, 19?
Yep.
Okay, so let's get to Jasher 42, 29, y'all. We're gonna close on out. I just want to get right into that because it's something very important about a dream and a trance. And he's like it's necromancy that we was warned not to participate in. But if we say we trust Jasher, then they say it's gonna bring us that verse. Right here, right there, it says necromancy. Ain't you telling me that ain't necromancy? We got to be on guard, y'all. We got to be able to prove everything. And did it say prove all things? It didn't just say prove the Old Testament, did it?
No.
If he's the volume of the book, how much of it we got to prove?
The whole thing.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. Jasher 42, start about verse 29.
Got his head? Yeah, go and get it.
Jasher chapter 42, verse 29. And they said to each other, what is this thing that Yahweh has done to us in the road? And they knew not that this befell them on account of Joseph. And the men proceeded on the road, and they passed along the road of Ephraim, where Rachel was buried.
So right here, if you pick this up at the beginning, what happened is some Ishmaelites got them out of the pit. Reuben them sold them to the Ishmaelites. They got them out of the pit. So the Ishmaelites got them. They finna go take them to Egypt and sell Joseph as a slave boy. So, but the Lord was punishing them on the way because they was hitting Joseph. You know, dogging him out. Hey, little. And the Lord withered their hand. They say, this thing got to be because of Joseph. You know, it's got to be about him. But as they're traveling to sell him into Egypt, they pass his mother's grave. Right? Now, his mother died before he had the dream. Right? Let's see what it say. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And Joseph reached his mother's grave. And Joseph hastened and ran to his mother's grave and fell upon the grave and wept. And Joseph cried aloud upon his mother's grave, and he said, O my mother, O thou who didst give me birth, awake now, and rise and see thy son, how he has been sold for a slave, and no one to pity him. O rise and see thy son, weep with me on account of my troubles, and see that the heart of my brethren, arouse, my mother, arise, awake from thy sleep for me, and direct thy battles against my brethren. Oh how have they stripped me of my coat, and sold me already twice for a slave, and separated me from my father, and there is no one to pity me.
And they'll say, well, look, ain't he talking to the dead? Ain't he talking to a grave? He talking to a grave. The only problem is, what is the practice? Is it like Saul? Did he seek out a witch of Endor? Did he conjure this up, or did he do like what we do? The grave markers are there, and you look at the grave, you say they going on, but you're not talking directly to them because you know they ain't in there. But you have to be careful, so everybody will look and say, man, that's opposite of everything y'all teach. No, it ain't. We're going to keep reading, and we're going to see vision and trance. Go ahead.
And Joseph continued to speak these words. And Joseph cried aloud and wept bitterly upon his mother's grave. And he ceased speaking. And from bitterness of heart, he became still as a stone upon the grave.
See, he became still as a stone upon the grave, so it was like he was almost what? When you still as a stone, you look, he fell into a trance at this point. Before that, there was no communication. He's crying. So at this point, he fell still as a stone, basically just from sorrow and what's going on with him and weeping out to his mother. He fell into what we would call a vision or a trance. Go ahead, read some more.
Verse 37. And Joseph heard a voice speaking to him from beneath the ground, which answered him with bitter words of heart. And with a voice of weeping and praying in these words.
Right.
My son Joseph, I have heard the voice of thy weeping and the voice of thy lamentation. I have seen thy tears. I know thy troubles, my son, and it grieves me for thy sake. And abundant grief is added to my grief. Now therefore, my son Joseph, my son, hope in the Most High.
Hope where?
In the Most High. And wait for him, and do not fear. For the Elohim is with thee. He will deliver thee from all troubles. Rise, my son. Go down into Egypt with thy masters, and do not fear. For the Elohim is with thee, my son. And she continued to speak like unto these words unto Joseph. And she was still. And Joseph heard this.
What Joseph do?
And Joseph heard this. And he wondered greatly at this.
See, he's wondering greatly at this. See, it ain't a common practice. He's wondering as great. I'm in a trance and I think I hear my mother's voice. He wondered greatly at this, like, look, like the witch of Endor wondered greatly when she saw Samuel. She said, wait a minute. This ain't the normal BS I've been pulling. This is, I see God's ascending and descending up a ladder, coming down back and forth. This ain't the normal. Just like Joseph knew this ain't the normal. He wondered at what just took place here. Wait a minute. I know the dead can't talk. Wait a minute. What's happening here? But the Lord will do some things. Go ahead. What else we see right here?
And Joseph heard this, and he wondered greatly at this, and he continued to weep. And after this, one of the Israelites observed him crying and weeping upon the grave, and his anger was kindled against him, and he drove him from there, and he smote him with the and cursed him.
So right here we can hold up. What we see here though is that the men that were had him this when he broke away from him, started crying on the grave, they ain't heard no voice. They heard him crying. They like, shut up all that crying, all making all that noise from that grave. Get up off that grave, and struck him again. Because they didn't hear the voice, just like the men that were around Acts 9 around Paul didn't hear the voice. They thought, they like, we hear him hooping and crying, we're hearing one side of this conversation, and then the people say, right there, man, you can say what you want to say, but that sounds like necromancy. Well, the only problem ain't the book of Jasher. The problem is in the Bible then, because Jeremiah say Rachel's children weeping, right? Rachel weeping for her what? What does Matthew 2:11 say? Give me that real quick. Now look, Rachel died before they went to Egypt. What is they talking about this for in Matthew 2:11?
Matthew chapter 2, verse 11.
What it say?
And when they were coming to the house, they saw a young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when he had opened their treasures, they presented, that ain't it.
That ain't it. Hold on, I want 2. I want right where Rachel's children reap. There it is, 2:18. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
And then give me Jeremiah 31:15, because we got a problem here. We got Rachel reaching in Jeremiah time, and he lived 1,000 or 2,000 years after Rachel died. How is Rachel weeping? How's the talking still going on? We got to close the gap on this, right? You can't blast Jasher in this wide open. How's Rachel weeping for her children and she died before they went to Egypt? What did 2:18 say, Zed?
Matthew chapter 2, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
In Ramah was there a voice heard.
I'll tell you what, back it up 17.
Verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet.
So Jeremiah the prophet said in Jeremiah 31:15. Y'all look at that. Go ahead, what it say?
In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children.
What is Rachel doing?
Weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not.
Hold on, wait a minute. She can't be comforted. She dead.
She ain't even in the flesh no more.
Right.
How is she comforted and can't be comforted? Who knows she can't be comforted? Jeremiah 31:15 saying the same thing. What is Jeremiah prophesying about Rachel weeping for her children? What we're talking about is when the children are being carried off, Rachel weeps for them, you know, and just like Abel, his blood cried from the earth about what Cain did to him.
Right.
So technically, y'all, the blood is crying from the earth. It's crying from the earth. Same way as Abel. When you understand this, you know they're not into necromancy. They're not talking to the dead. They fall into the trance and they hear things that the people around them don't hear. And he wondered at it. So it ain't a common practice of necromancy. He didn't say it worked this time, as my father taught me to go to the grave and talk to the dead. It wasn't that. It was just, he was just so emotional. They just happened to be going that way, and he saw his mother's grave. If they hadn't went that route, we wouldn't even be reading about this. But it's as far as important. Did we read 2:11?
What, the Jeremiah?
Yeah, we read that, didn't we?
No, we read.
No, I mean, we read Matthew 2:18, right? Okay, and then y'all read Jeremiah 31:15. It's going to say the same thing, but what I'm just asking to tie this up, we finna get out of here, is why is it mentioning them thousands of years later about this same woman and at the birth of Christ? You got to tie it in together to see if he's talking necromancy or no, or this talking necromancy. Did we finish that Jasher 42? We did, when they cursed him, right? And they bring him on in there. Now, just what we were saying about this is that Rachel, he's crying on his grave, but he said this to dream about my mother. when they got to Egypt and they came into Egypt, Jacob was still with his wives, the ones that were left alive. And they bowed to him when they came to get food, and he brought them all to Egypt, brought all of Jacob with him to Egypt. And they bowed before him, so the vision was complete, but it was not with his natural born mother, it was with his stepmother, who had been put in charge, that the Most High let him see the vision down the line. Unless Bilhah was dead before they got to Egypt. Then there's left with Zilpah. And what's the other one name? Zilpah and Hilpah. No, I'm just guessing. But Hilkiah, I forget what the other one's name is. But they were all the handmaids, so they were like surrogate mothers anyway. Hagar was a surrogate mother for Sarah. She said, and what women would do while the lady's having the baby pregnancy, they would actually sit her on the lap. And she would have the baby while she's sitting on their lap. And it was like she actually gave birth to it.
Right, passed through.
Passed through. So y'all, it's a lot of things in here, y'all, that makes it deeper than just reading straight through verses when we're talking about talking to the dead or some things happening. Some things happen that has to be explained that's in this Bible, but we got to get into it or they will contradict you out of your belief. They will contradict you out of your belief. If you don't believe it, all you have to do is Google right now. 100 contradictions in the Bible by some Muslim. And you'll see everything in there they point to right there. That's why we don't believe the Bible. But they have no instructions in the Bible because they never quote the law.
Right.
And if you let somebody tell you about the Bible without the law of the instructions of that event, then they got you. You be like, surely. Surely.
Israelite had that about the New Testament.
Yeah.
A bunch of contradictions. He had like 20 of them. I read 2 of them. I was like, he ain't got no understanding.
Boy, you ain't got no understanding.
I quit even looking at it.
See, and that's what we talk about is deeper than hearing his voice. They can read the same scripture, but they don't hear what he's saying. You know why? Because they're reading it for fault. There's no faith. They're reading it for contradiction, and it's not going to work for you that way. You're not going to be able to defame the Most High. The only way you can get that off is the person that you're dealing with ain't did his homework like he's supposed to do, and he got you like this, a bootleg version right here. This is like a Gucci bag you get at the barbershop. You know that ain't real, and you paid $22 and the change that was in the ashtray from your car. Right. You know what them purses cost for real, and how you gonna be in the club with this like it's the real deal?
And every one of them contradictions.
And the only thing in there is 2 broke cigarettes and some change.
All them contradictions was one-liners.
Scratch holy off of it if you say it's tampered with. Scratch holy off. Holy means sanctified and set apart. If it's tampered with, you scratch out holy, and it should be just say Bible, so we know how you coming.
It should just say Bible, entertainment purposes only.
That's what it should say, not holy, because you don't trust it.
Right.
How you going, when it says holy, how do you not trust holy?
Right. Book of favors.
You say book of favors. Oh, okay, book of favors. Yeah, that's what they'll make it sound like. Or, like you say, a book of favors. It only does them a favor when they battling against somebody that don't know it. When some strange nation point to the Bible, if you let them get on board without making them understand the rules of the Bible, shame on you. Shame on y'all. We're going to close on that. What we got? Anybody got any questions out there concerned about what we went over today? Hope we got some understanding on the communication with the other side. Y'all, Luke 16, wasn't that man talking? Go back and tell my family this. What'd he say? No, man, we can't talk to them. No, we can't go back over there. The message can't pass back over on this side. That's why nobody else heard it. He heard it in a vision, just like the man in Luke 16 went and heard the rich man in the 3rd level on paradise on the torment side. He said, I'm tormented in this flame. Go back and tell my people so they don't come here.
Right.
What the angel tell them? They got Moses and the what? The prophets. They'll listen to that. You can't go back and say nothing.
Right.
I can't go back and say nothing. Paul say I can't go back and say nothing. Y'all, it's existence on that side, but they ain't watching you at the basketball game. They ain't watching you get married. They ain't seeing that baby take its first steps. None of that. they have no more reward under this sun.
Right.
They either get a reward on the other side, on the other part, on the third level. In Abraham's bosom, you locked and loaded, ain't you?
Yeah.
You good to go. Resurrected straight from that to the eternal life. Anybody got any questions or concerns? Y'all, we got Purim coming up, y'all. Got the holy day of Purim coming up. Y'all, we got another meeting coming up, sister. We got another meeting. We may have to tie in Passover meeting with that too, because Wednesday. So we're going to go and tie, if you will, send out, we're going to tie in Passover meeting with that too. Because just in case we have a limit that we allow, you know, our assembly members from out of town, we want to give them plenty of time to get, you know, travel arrangements ready and things of that nature, and let them know how many people we can have. Our place is locked and loaded. We already got the establishment, everything set up. We just need to tie up some loose ends on Wednesday. This coming Wednesday about the Passover. We'll put the information out there to the assembly, how many we can have here in St. Louis to stay inside of this COVID restrictions that they have. So we don't want to get outside of that and make them, you know, or have any way the police come in and shut it down. We don't want that. But Purim coming up February the 25th, that's Thursday at sundown. Y'all know how we do it. We always give gifts to the poor. We do some things, but Brother Ariana gonna break off some more things. We got some more things we gotta add, because it say invite somebody over for dinner. You know, it ain't just giving to the poor. You got to invite some over that's poor in spirit. You know, they may have on gaiters and a nice leather jacket, but up here, they're poor. They're Revelation 2 and 9. I know thou suffer what? Poverty and what? But thou art rich. You have to understand there's a richness with that, so we got to give it to you. You just rich on the outside, bro. You just dressed up, but you poor in here. So let's have a meal. Let's sit down and talk about this. This may be the time that somebody you've been trying to get at, you want to get up. Invite them over for dinner during Purim time and give them that good gift.
Yes, sir.
And then March the 27th, that's a Saturday, is the Passover. Feast of Unleavened Bread. So y'all, we're gonna get all the information out there. We'll let our worldwide audience know what's going on. And once again, y'all, thank y'all, all y'all that constantly, you know, and contribute to us, especially with prayers, y'all. We need that more than anything, y'all, because we're battling the invisible man, and that's called COVID. Ain't no one way you can pinpoint which way this thing coming. Because if they put it in the swab, they're gonna put it in the mask, which is easier. Everybody got to wear the mask, but everybody ain't got the test, do they?
Exactly.
Put it in the mask and that'll do it, but we're protected by Mark 16. If they slip anything on us, y'all, without us wearing a note, they have to voluntarily tell you. If you voluntarily take that shot and you get sick, you volunteer for that. They tell you before you do it. You're taking it at your own risk. How is there a risk with healing you? Ain't that crazy?
Shouldn't be one.
So y'all, want to thank y'all continually for all y'all do for us. You know, y'all know who y'all are, too many to name. But thank y'all very much for what y'all do for us in the radio station.
That's right.
Close on out of here.
That's what's up.
Good out there too, Bob?
Yes, sir. All right, family, we're going to get this closing prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And in the name of his only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach. We know him as Jesus the Christ, family. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 52nd chapter, it reads, Why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of Yah endureth continually. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah.
Selah.
Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. Yah shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place, and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah.
Selah.
The righteous also shall see and fear, and shall laugh at him. Lo, this is the man that made not Yah his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of Yah. I trust in the mercy of Yah forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, because thou hast done it, and I will wait on thy name, for it is good before thy saints. Hallelujah! Say it! Yes, sir. Yes.
Y'all got a shekel or two, y'all. We greatly appreciate it. Y'all please clean up after yourselves, get them old sunflower seeds and Pampers up.